ladies and everyone else, gents included, all in betweens. Wait, welcome back to 4th and 15 with Melon Smooth, brought to you once again by the Straub brothers, Ken and Andrew, on what I think is the most horrific idea of all time. Unless you like it, then it's all my idea. But little bro said we got to do a Halloween podcast because we didn't do one last week. So here I am in the worst Coach Prime costume you have ever seen in your life, alongside someone who looks like Harry Potter but is not Harry Potter. Who are you?
For those of that have seen the movie Atlantis, I am Milo, and I shout out to my person I'm going with, Nikita. She is Kita, and we are going as the Atlantis people.
Girlfriend, give her the proper shout out. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna need to take these off because I can't see.
No, that's fair. Me too.
This hat's coming off at some point as well because I'm gonna get too hot. But we're back once again to do what we do.
Yes.
Bring you some college football, talk about some betting. We're going to touch some World Series. We're going to touch some NBA, and we're going to hit the footy as always. But first and foremost, as part of my costume here, I got to give a special shout out. Number one to Rico and the Sports Minute, but also to Akron. Got my first media credential yesterday. I got to work the Akron-Kent State game. I got a post coming up soon. You'll get to see. I got touchdowns happening right in front of me in the end zone. We have talked about this, me and Andrew, and I'm going to speak for both of us for a second. I apologize, bro. This is a dream come true to do this podcast. It's a dream come true for me to talk sports for a living, and it's a dream come true for us to do this podcast. I was literally a kid in Disney World yesterday in the press conference. I got my media credential. I got to walk in the special doors and the special elevator. I also got to meet Coach Jim Tressel of Ohio State yesterday in Youngstown. Shout out to Coach Tressel. You're an awesome person. And this is also for everyone who claims I'm an Ohio State hater. Coach Tressel was awesome. He definitely took a picture with us. That picture is up on the 216 Sports Facebook page. You can see that. You can also see Mel's picture with Fox, but that was yesterday. So I definitely got to give a shout out to that. Mama, I made it. Mama, I made it. So that was definitely awesome. So shout out to that. Name. It's in the register process. You still can't know, but it's coming quicker than you think. Like I said, the eviction notice was posted. We answered. We got a new place to live. We're good to go. We're gonna still be in the same. We're still on the same block. We got a new place to live. All right, Drew. We're running late and I'm rambling. Okay, so let's get rolling. Okay, the most important thing of the college football week. College Football Committee released their first set of rankings. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna talk about them. So first things first. Put it up so you know where to go and find us. Put this up so you know exactly what we're hitting, which is that college football. And let's do it. Your top four. Boom, on the screen. As you see, number 6, Oregon. Number 5, Washington. If you listen to the podcast, that's something you're familiar with in those spots, basically. Number 4, Florida State. Me and you went back and forth, but especially after the Oklahoma lost. Florida State exactly where they belong. Number 3, the University of Michigan. Little bit of, I don't actually know, a bit of surprise because I gave them full, you're beating everybody up. It's what you deserve to do. It's what you deserve to get. But I'm not mad that the committee put them there. Number 2, Georgia. Once again, not upset here. Georgia doing what they're supposed to do and deserving so. But number 1, Ohio State, the University of Ohio State, the Ohio State. Ohio versus the world. Ohio against everyone. I'm pulling this down and I'm looking right into this camera. That is why last week I told you it was a crock. That's why I told you that what Ryan Day was doing didn't make any sense. Everyone in the country respects Ohio State, including this podcast. And the committee said, you have the 2 best wins in the country right now. A win over Notre Dame, you're welcome, and a win over Penn State. That Penn State win is going to look worse and worse as the year continues. I 100% understand that. Shout out to my coworker Mike Ryba, OHIO. But no one's disrespecting your Buckeyes. Clearly, now not only are you getting so much respect as you're the number one team in the country, it's potentially now if you keep it close with Michigan and you lose a close game, you only drop to 4 and you stay in. More than respect. Drew, what stands out about the top 6 for you? Or if you would like to hit Ohio State and me in number 1 first.
Yeah, actually, I want to talk about Ohio State real quick because some people saw it as a surprise, but honestly, it's less a surprise than people think. They're number 15 in terms of strength and schedule, and if you look at Georgia and Michigan, they are 100 and 112 respectively in terms of strength of schedule. And then if you look at strength of record, they're number 1, and Georgia is 7 and Michigan is 9th. And like you touched on, they have 2 top 25 wins right now, and you can't say that Georgia or Michigan have any because they haven't played anybody that are inside the top 25 right now. And so while it looks weird to see them at 1 because we've always seen them at 3 or a little bit lower, we've always seen that the College Football Playoff Committee does not care about AP rankings. They don't care how you were ranked in the beginning of the season. They see those first 8 or 9 games and they rank them based off of those. And Ohio State is leading in all of those, and so they're deservedly number 1, honestly.
Listen, I'll be honest. I would have been okay with any of the top 3 being number 1. Okay. Now I have heard, and I 100% agree. There's a lot of people, and I'm going to get this off so I stop clanging in everybody's ear. That's what you get for making me dress up for Halloween a week after Halloween. There was a lot. I would have been good with everybody except for maybe Florida State. And I know Florida State, there's a lot of people who argue Florida State could be number 2 because they have the other best win of those top 4 teams. Excuse me. Alabama has the second, or Alabama and Texas have the argument, I think, for the second best win in the country, with a win over Alabama for Texas and the win over in the win for Alabama. But I'm good with this. Why am I good with this? This is all going to play out. No one is going to be left out. Yep. Ohio State and Michigan play each other. Georgia and Alabama will play each other more than likely. Or no, I'm sorry, they do play each other. Florida State still has stuff coming up. Okay. Shout out to Moms. Moms is in already. This is going to take care of itself. Washington and Oregon going to take care of itself, although the Pac-12 feels like it's going to take care of itself within the next 2 weeks the way it's going. So I'm not stressed about this. I'm okay with it. Like you said, Ohio State deserved. That's fine. I got no beef with it. What do I sit in here and talk about? Who is the most talented player in the country week in, week out on the field? Ohio State. Okay. They're undefeated. Number 1. I'm good with that. Anything else you want to touch? Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah. In terms of the top 6. In terms of the top 6, the only thing I really got is Ohio State and Michigan still play. Michigan still plays number 11 Penn State, and Georgia, number 12 Missouri, number 10 Ole Miss, number 17 Tennessee in back-to-back weeks. So it's all going to work itself out, and yet Florida State and Oregon fans and everything might be a little bit, but they're just biding their time until all of that plays out. As long as the other teams keep winning, they'll get positions.
Exactly. That's it. End of story. So one last time. Top 4 in your first 2 out. Ohio State, Georgia, Florida State, Michigan, Washington, and Oregon. Let's be honest. What we all really hoped for was that Ohio State and Michigan were 2-1. That way we could see, I'm always cooking the rematch. There we go. We could have had it. But honestly, here's the thing, though. I like those matchups actually better for the underseeded teams this year than I would have ever liked. I think Michigan could hang this year, and I think Florida State could score on that Ohio State defense. But that's for another conversation for a way, way long another time. Pack 2. Shout out to Ray. Pack 2. All right, let's hit the rest of your top 25 because hey, there's other people who play. The rest of the best. Number 7, Texas, 8, Alabama, 9, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Penn State, Missouri, Louisville, LSU at 14. Notre Dame follows in. Oregon State, Tennessee, Utah, UCLA, USC, hi Mark, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Tulane, and our Air Force, rounding out the top 25. What stands out for you here in the rest of the top 25 before I give you what stands out for me?
Yeah, just a couple of notes, honestly. USC at 20 seems a little high, in my opinion, after honestly almost 3 losses in a row. Um, but the offense is good enough to hang with anybody, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Um, Tulane at 24 seems kind of low. In terms of strength of schedule, they're better than Georgia and Michigan. And then in terms of strength of record, they're better than USC, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Oregon State. And they have less losses than those 4 teams. So it seems kind of a little bit of a disrespect, but they are in the American, so I do understand.
Right.
And then lastly,
ooh, you lastly.
I was just going to say Air Force at 25 being undefeated seems kind of wrong, but they have the third weakest strength of schedule, so understandable.
Right. And sorry, James Madison. Man, I thought we might see you, but we did not. Oh, I also want to give a shout out to Mel. I mean, first of all, his name's on the show. Mel brought up a good point before we hit the rest of this top 25, and we talked about it. Washington and Oregon are gonna play each other more than likely again in the Pac-12 championship. Top 6 gonna clean itself out. So Mel, shout out to you for checking in with us this week. Now that football's over, and you're absolutely right. Oh, also quick shout out because I know he's listening right now. I told my buddy Ray, whoever wins our fantasy league gets to come on the show. I know this is completely off topic, but Ray's in here hollering at us, so I want to make sure he knows because Ray thinks he's going to. So the rest of your top 25, I'm all over the place right now. What I see right here is the top 4. You see Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, all just kind of going, okay, somebody screw up. And we're all, here's the other thing. It doesn't even need to be a team screwing up. Ohio State and Michigan. We've already talked about this. Washington and Oregon. There's going to be spots available to jump. Who can make that jump? Can Missouri get in the mix when an upset of Georgia? Can Penn State all of a sudden turn it around and make an upset of Michigan? Ole Miss sneaking around can still sneak into that AC or to that SEC championship game. I don't believe in Oklahoma, but Texas kind of. There are teams lurking. I mean, LSU. I know there's 2 losses. Like there are crazier things that have happened. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that nothing might happen. But we'll get rid of that. Drew, we hit our top 6. We hit the rest of our top 25. I think you know what it's time for. It's about that time, my guy. We'll hold up the car. We're about to take a trip across the country, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's get rolling.
Roll, baby. We're going to start with the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Georgia in Florida. Georgia beat up on Florida 43-20. Best Bulldog performance of the year just before the committee was about to come out. So good for Georgia. Man, Carson Beck, 315. And shout out to my guy, Dan Orlowski. 2 tutties. Okay. Ladd McConkey, 135 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Georgia rolling at the exact right time. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. And I will say, Florida was hanging with them for the first quarter. It was 10-7 Georgia. They were looking kind of iffy, and then they dropped 26 unanswered because they decided to play football. They just turn on a switch. They've done it all year where they just realize they are not playing as well as they should have, and then they just dominate teams. Florida isn't a bad team per se, but obviously they're not great. But Georgia made them look like they were just another team and just pushed them aside. So another great win, and it shows how dominant they can be.
100%. I just want to remember we're riding around the country, everybody. That's why we got the sunglasses on. I also want to point out you look like the Ultimate Warrior. You look like the Ultimate Warrior about to cut a promo. Yes, thank you. Like absolutely. I got to take these off every once in a while because I got to see. I 100%. Graphic coming next week. So stay tuned, everybody. 100%. Like Georgia looking good, but man, murderer's row for Georgia. Like you mentioned early, number 12 Missouri coming up this week, number 10 Ole Miss after that, number 17 Tennessee, and all of a sudden the hottest, most upset ready team in the country, Georgia Tech. So I mean, not easy. Florida. It's fair to ask this question right now. You've got number 14 LSU, number 12 Missouri, and number 4 Florida State left on your schedule. Are you upset minded or are you cashing it in? It's fair to ask at this point because I
Yeah.
mean, are you going to hang her out? Are you done? I'm just, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think honestly think Florida could walk out of those 3 games with more than 1 win?
Oh God, it's so
Let me ask
tough
you
for
that to take a drink of water.
no, you're good. It's so tough for Florida because like we've seen it every single year. We're like, oh, this Florida team is cashed out. They've gotten blown out repeatedly, and then they somehow come up with a 27-20 win over number 5 ranked whoever, and you're like, oh, okay, so Florida still has some potential. And then the same thing is the next year. So maybe I would say I could see a win potentially. 2 is really tough just because they're not at that level yet. So no.
I've got the live stream up. We look absolutely ridiculous in these sunglasses.
That's what it's
But
about, baby.
absolutely. Shout out to everybody. We don't care. All right. Anything else? I think we're rolling.
Let's
Number
go.
6, our other big game of the week. Number 6, Oregon, 35-6 over number 18, Utah. That I'm gonna get that down better one week. That guy right there called it. The Ducks came to play, and you can argue that other than a kicker, and I did this in the press box last night, minus a kicker, this is a top 4 team and the best team in the Pac-12, hands down. Hey, welcome. You can see again.
Hi,
Am I
everybody.
wrong? Besides a kicker, this is the best team in the Pac-12, and this is a top 4 team.
Yeah. They are insanely good. Um, maybe not as a potent of an offense as Washington because I think Washington is more rounded. But honestly, the gap between those 2 teams, Oregon and Washington, and the rest of the Pac-12 is enormous, and it was shown again in this game. 390 yards to 241 for Utah, and it's like it just looks like they're playing at another level.
Washington does have the more high-powered offense than the big. We watched the game; they hung
Yeah,
right.
oh,
So
for sure.
the
For sure.
gap is very minimal. You're 100% right. Shout out to Bo Nix, 3 total tutties, 2 through the air, 1 on the ground. I mean, come on, Oregon. Utah, second loss for Utah, up and down with some injuries. The crazy part is you still can't go bye-bye Utah. Thanks for coming. Because there's craziness. Utah still has number 5 Washington on the schedule. Oregon has USC and Oregon State. So a rematch in the Pac-12 championship with Washington. I mean, it's inevitable, but there's steps still for Oregon to trip up on. USC is going to be a challenge for anybody who plays them for the rest of the year. I don't care. I'm not worried about what that record says.
Their
And
offense will be.
hey, my Beavers. We rolling? We rolling? We're rolling. Number 3.
I'm gonna keep
Florida,
glasses off.
you're good. Number 3, Florida State handled Wake Forest 41-16. Demon Deacons, thanks for coming. Jordan Travis, 359, 3 throwing tutties, 1 rushing. All right, I'm gonna stop doing tutties. My bad. 24 unanswered points from the Seminoles to put this game away. I mean, the Seminoles are just week in, week out taking care of business. They're doing what they're supposed to do. All right, shout out to my guy Al Miller. Big, that's my Florida State guy. They're basically just hoping Louisville can win out, look strong, and meet them in the ACC championship game. And Florida State's gonna see you on January or on New Year's Eve, I should say. Talk to me real quick before we jump out.
Yeah. I challenged Florida State last week. I said, "Show me you're for real." I'm a believer. I'm sorry. They 508 yards and only gave up 210 to Wake Forest, 34 to 7.5. Jordan Travis, 388 total yards, 4 touchdowns. The only concern I would say that I have for them is they have a small issue with penalties. They had 9 penalties for 115 yards this week. They're 118th in penalty yards per game, and obviously the higher you are, the smaller or the less amount of penalties you get. So playing up against a tougher team, it might be marginal. Those might come back to bite you, but everything else is insanely good right now. So if you clean that up, you are a clear favorite.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with you. They'll heavily penalized, but I don't see this team is locked in, so I'm ready there. All right, let's roll. Number 5, Washington, 42, Stanford, 33. Man, these Cardinals. Michael Penix Jr. bounces back stat wise, and Washington still has to kind of survive a bit against a very punchy Stanford team. Penix Jr., 3 tutties, not done doing it. Washington can score. Like we talked, Washington can score, but they're going to have to play some defense here along the way, or they're going to get tripped up. This is ask Oklahoma. You're not shooting everybody out every week. I'm sorry. It's not a shootout every week. You can't do that. Period.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah. Shout out to Stanford, man. Like everyone, Stanford's horrible. They're in there. All right. That's a hard school to recruit at, man. Talk to me. Talk to me about Washington.
No, I mean I completely agree. Like you got to play at least some defense because like you're gonna blow teams out, obviously that are a little lower. When you're playing a Georgia, when you're playing an Ohio State, when you're playing a Michigan, they're going to get stops on you. Like regardless, it's what's going to happen, and so you need to be able to get stops on them as well, or nothing's going to happen. It's going to be a TCU and Georgia where Georgia's going to run all over you because they figured out how to stop the TCU offense, and TCU couldn't stop Georgia in the national championship last year.
Absolutely. And I want to shout out Mel again because he just brought up a good point in the comments. Hit us in the comments, YouTube, Facebook. Talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to you. Mel said nobody plays defense in the Pac-12. Exactly. But Washington, it's what I said for the lead up to that Oregon game. I don't expect them to come out and all of a sudden turn into a Big Ten team. I don't. Can you get some turnovers? Can you make a couple stops? And they're barely doing that. So that's definitely got to improve for Washington going forward.
And when's the last time a Pac-12 or a Big 12 team, two notoriously non-defensive things, have won a national championship?
Vince Young. Wow, did it? Wow.
Florida State.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Florida State, the Jameis Winston team.
Like, you have to play some sort of defense. I mean, you can't just.
Well, then you're talking ACC because then you can bring up Clemson, but that Clemson team played
defense. That defense was insane. Yeah, so it's different.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Oh, this one hurts. Number 9, Oklahoma loses to number 21, Kansas. Kansas can't convert on 4th down. Loses to Kansas for the first time in 26 years, breaking an 18-game streak. Devin Neal, 112 rushing yards and made the plays when Kansas needed it. Man, before I throw in some Dylan Gabriel stuff, your Jayhawks come through and take care of Oklahoma. However, you also really liked Oklahoma. Talk to me.
Oklahoma, you let me down, man. Everyone was rooting against you, but I had your back. I was rolling with you last week, and you did exactly what everyone said you were going to do. Both leaned on the rushing attack, but the chunk plays kept Kansas alive. Both had turnovers. They had 3 apiece, but penalties killed Oklahoma. 11 for 101 yards, and they just could not stop that Kansas rushing attack. And like you said before, you're not going to outscore everybody, so you need to be able to play some defense. Oklahoma just could not do that all game, and it just looked miserable. Rain delay or not.
Right, 100%. Do me a favor, check your phone. I sent you something to look at for later. Dylan Gabriel, 403 yards, 2 tutties, 1 interception. Great. And this is what I wrote. You just talked about it. This Oklahoma defense not only did not play well, this Oklahoma defense hasn't played well since they played your Bearcats. That's the last time. That's the last time Oklahoma came out and actually put up a good defensive performance. And during that game, we talked about, hey, is this team back? I mean, I'm just come on, step up. All right, rolling out. Number 1, Ohio State took out Wisconsin 24-10. Marvin Harrison Jr., my favorite college player who does not wear the Irish blue and gold or is one of Prime's kids, once again proves what I've said for weeks. He is the best player on the field every week. I don't care. 2 touchdowns. The other best player on the field, Trayvon Henderson, welcome back. 162 yards rushing and a touchdown. It was a close game till the 4th. I mean, it was definitely Wisconsin versus the world. I mean, there for a while. But Buckeyes pulled away. They're in the driver's seat of their own destiny. I'm telling you, close the facilities. Don't allow scouts in. Make sure you're checking all Michigan, or making sure you're checking all tickets and all the credentials are stamped correctly, and you're fine. You're rolling in. I mean, this Closer game than expected, but I don't have a beef with that. It's an alma mater game, a homecoming game. Those things carry tradition, or those things carry heavier weight in college, I should say. So, but hey, Ohio State taking care of business, right?
Yeah, I mean, a Luke Fickle team always comes defensively. Trust me, as when you coach at Ohio State, they always come to play defensively. But yeah, the Ohio State offense still a little concerning with 3 turnovers. But again, the defense carried, looking great, looking stacked. So not too worried, but obviously they have bigger tests coming up along with Michigan. So we'll see.
100,000%. We're rolling. My turn, my love, my show. Number 15, Notre Dame handles Pitt 58-7. Irish taking care of business on offense, defense, special teams, punt return, touchdowns, pick 6. I mean, finishing the season strong, like my Irish need to. Now we absolutely just have to look for touchdown Jesus to absolutely make some chaos. I need 3 losses across the board. I need people to lose out at this point, but I'm still holding on home. My Irish took care of Pitt way more than you took care of Pitt. So that means in your little weird thing, I'm better than you, whatever you were trying to say last week that nobody cared about. Love you. I'm just playing. My Irish look good, but I mean, we beat up on Penn. Penn. What do we, or Pitt. Do we need to, I'm rolling on to Penn State. That's why I said Penn. Anything you want to throw in about my Irish?
Offense okay, but they need to be because defense forced 5 turnovers. So
like 100%. Like we're not gonna lose when we play like that, but not everybody's every week. Yeah. Now the team I was already mentioning, Penn State, 33, Indiana 24. Yeah, huh? This Indiana team that went overtime with Akron, huh? Drew Allard and the Nittany Lions needed a late, long touchdown to hold off Indiana. I'm just going to say it. This is why Penn State couldn't beat Indiana. This right here is more proof why they couldn't beat Ohio State than the Ohio State game. You can't. You're hanging with Indiana barely. You're not beating them. You're not there yet. I'm sorry. Get mad at me for showing you facts. I mean, Drew, 3 touchdowns. Not you, Drew. That Drew. But also his first interception of the season. Thoughts here? Because that was woo.
Yeah, surprisingly close game. It kind of looked like Penn State was still hung over from the loss to Ohio State. Kind of the everything is deflated. Indiana had 2 really big plays early, which kind of showed a little bit of weakness for the Penn State defense. Some very questionable defending there, but Penn State came up with a big play on their own, a 57-yard touchdown pass to win the game. And I honestly, I think the big question is like, are we going to see this Penn State from now on? Just kind of like, we don't care. We lost the big game. It doesn't matter. Or are they going to maybe play an upset specialist to Michigan later on down the line?
Oh, I can't. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, when I see it. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
fair. That's fair. That's very fair.
And like I said, and like I said, we're keeping up with these comments too. Penn State ain't been there for years. I've said it. Mel just said it. Like, no, you're not. You're like Texas. I'm sorry, you're not there. I just don't. I don't want to hear it. Speaking of Texas, hey, that's a transition, folks. Number 7, Texas, 35, BYU 6. Guess there was no upset special there. My bad. My bad.
I didn't touch it, so it's fine.
No QB, no change. Malik Murphy, welcome to college football. 170 yards, 2 tutties. Shaky first half, fumble and an interception. Honestly, yeah, got to be there. But turned it on in the second half. But the defense just stifled BYU. 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. Texas, great defensive performance. The quarterback got rolling in his first start. Yeah, you're hanging out there, Texas. You're doing your Texas thing, and yeah, I don't know. Talk. I know I'm dismissive of Texas every week because you burned me and I'm done. Until you burn me again. Talk to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of have to agree with you as I'm doubting, just because they lost such a vital part of their offense in Ewers. And you could definitely see the downgrade. It's 170 yards, not great with an interception. 2 touchdowns though. However, the Texas head coach, can't remember his name at the time, has mentioned
Sarkisian.
Thank you. Has mentioned that Arch Manning is still practicing and is possibly available. So if Malik Murphy, if he starts struggling, are we possibly going to see an Arch Manning sighting possibly later on if they fall out of college football playoff contention?
I 100% am okay with being wrong here because I'm gonna step out on a very, very weak branch. I don't think he touches the field. I
That's
don't
fair.
think I
That's
don't
fair.
think he wants that smoke with the meat. Because here we go. Are you if he's because once he's in, that's it. The hype train is rolling. Everybody's
Yeah.
ready. So until you're ready to press the button on that, don't touch that.
That's fair.
Do,
That's
do
fair.
not do not break that glass yet. But it's fair to bring it up. If this starts to get off the rails, if we have more injuries, you're not gonna have a choice. But you never know. Let's see what you got, Texas. All right, rides are moving. Number 24, Tulane over Rice, 30-28. The Green Wave were up 27-7 before they let the Owls back in the game, but still pulled out the win for 6 straight. Michael Pratt, 263 yards, 3 touchdowns. I also want to give a shout out to Rice quarterback JT Daniels, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a losing but spirited performance. I was watching this. Tulane was rolling and then fell asleep, and Rice made a game of it, made some big plays down the stretch, but couldn't come up with it. Anything here? We're going to keep it rolling quickly on this one.
Nah, yeah, those games in the American are tricky if you let them be. You got to keep your gas in the pedal, man.
Yeah, and I also, it's also not fair sometimes because somebody's going to go, okay, well, they could barely beat Rice. Hey, man, this is their competition. They're beating up on their competition, and they deserve to be ranked with everybody else. Like, they deserve that respect. All right, moving on. Number 20, sorry, Mark. Number 20, USC rallies on Cal, 50-49. No, USC, man, come on. Two scores in the fourth quarter, and they beat Cal on a tip 2-point conversion drive. I mean, USC playing with fire every week. And they still control their Pac-12 destiny.
Yeah.
Even though the rest of us are tired of them, and I'm tired of betting around them, they still control it. You gotta love them Pac-12 overs. I mean, that's shout out to Terrell. Other than a Christian McCaffrey score, the Vikings +7, Pac-12 overs right there this year. Okay, like all the way. Caleb, 369, 2 tutties. He's got to be invited to the Heisman house or the Heisman candidate, right? Out of just respect. I know he'll be there anyways, but like he don't know, like.
So, okay, last year they took 4 guys, right? So then you're saying he's a top 4 player in the country.
Why are we only going to take 4?
Because we're going to put a whole line of dudes there that we know aren't going to make it.
Okay, preview to tomorrow's pod when we talk about some Heisman stuff. The Heisman ceremony is already 2.5 hours long. I gotta sit through it to watch Lomachenko fight, and I'm cool with that. But because I like it, I like boxing, so I like watching Lomachenko fight after the Heisman thing or Teofimo Lopez. And shout out to boxing, we're getting that in there in the middle of this. But the Heisman ceremony is already 2.5 hours long. I don't care. Fine. How many more guys from the 40s from Notre Dame can you parade up there?
Yeah, I get you, but like if I'm looking at it right, Michael Penix Jr., Jordan Travis, Bo Nix, Marvin Harrison, I think is ahead of him, honestly, just because he dominates that position.
Dylan Gabriel?
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot, not really. I think Caleb Williams is a little ahead of him, but I don't think those guys are ahead. I think that you have a clear 3 in Bo Nix, Jordan Travis, and Michael Penix Jr. And then I think you have Marvin Harrison a little bit down because it's a quarterback award mostly, in my opinion. But I don't think he cracks that top 4, maybe even not top 5. And so he's going to be there because the ceremony, he was a past winner. But I don't think he's come up in big enough moments to be considered a Heisman candidate, at least a top 5.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think I agree with that. I was looking up something, so I didn't just ignore you on that. Ali Gordon, Oklahoma State running back.
We'll get to that. We will touch it.
We'll talk about that later. So we want to start talking about Heisman candidates. Sorry, like there are
monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing on Sundays. You see pops in the comments. How about bringing up the only 2-time winner? We know Archie Griffin, Ohio State. Thank you for spinning in the chair. You could not have hit that any better. We know, Dad. I'm just saying, like, he deserves to be there. And yeah, are we gonna bring Archie up twice? We're there. We can bring him up twice. We'll fill another 5 seconds of 2.5 hours that we don't need. God, it's fired up already, man. All right, you didn't even talk about the game because whatever, USC. I'm just
1,024 combined yards, by the way.
Thank you.
1,000.
Right. We're fired up this week. Man,
I know. I like it.
not even all
It's
the
the
way done.
Halloween spirit.
Right. Number 25, Air Force takes out Colorado State 30-13. The Falcons handle the Rams in what was our first snow game of the year. Oh, yeah. Run game dominant, 261 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 13 straight wins for Air Force. Touch on the game before I want to touch on the funnest part of the game.
Yeah, the Colorado State quarterback, actually played pretty well. 297 yards and a touchdown. But for some reason, in the first snow game of the season, they decided to throw 45 times and only get 42 rushing yards. And so I didn't know the game plan there, but Air Force went the exact opposite route, only passed for 32 yards, but you said ran for 261. And surprisingly, when it's cold outside, running the ball works better. And they got the very easy victory.
We are breaking more news on the pod. Running the ball in the cold weather works. Man. All right, we got to talk about the funnest part of this game. Snowballs.
Yes.
Okay. 2 warnings in the first half for snowballs being thrown at the Air Force bench by Colorado State players. An unsportsmanlike penalty to start the third quarter, leading to the officials. I love this. Leading to the officials kicking all of the students out of the lower stands, making them move to rower 16 or higher, and forming a security guard barrier in between the bench and the stands. Absolutely shout out to you Rams fans. Yes, I know the ice balls. We don't want players getting hurt. And I don't advise any or condone any of that. But come on, have some fun. It's some snowballs. You got helmets on. Like, come on, let's have some fun here. That's absolutely amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. This one we're definitely going to hit quick. I'll put the glasses on to roll around the country on this one. Number 10, Ole Miss, 33-7 over Vandy. Still didn't cover. Ole Miss with 26 first half points to blow the doors off of Vanderbilt. Did not look back. Like we said earlier, Ole Miss is still in the mix with Georgia on the schedule. Okay? Look out. Okay? Look out. All right. Number 13, Louisville. Shut out now unranked Duke 23-0 in what we were hoping was a good game. But 14 early was all Louisville needed as Jawar Jordan ran for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, come on. Last night in the Akron press box, I got to talk to Mike Washman, College Football Focus, and he had brought up Jawar Jordan. We've been talking about Jawar Jordan for weeks on this podcast. The kid is a monster. 163 yards, 2 tutties. Come on, let's roll. Riley Leonard returned from his re-aggravated ankle injury, 9 for 23, 121 passing yards, 13 rushing yards, left late in the fourth, shouldn't have been playing, shouldn't be playing. I want to see this kid get drafted. I want to see this kid play. Stop playing him.
Dude, just bench him already, honestly. Like, your season, at this point of your season.
Bench, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, rest him. Sit him until he's healthy, even if that means next year. But I don't want to get too fired up about that. I want to touch back on Jawar Jordan. 5th 100-yard game of the season, and he's at 824 yards, nearing 1,000 yards. And honestly, this Louisville team is the clear second best team in the ACC. You have Florida State, and then you have a little bit down as Louisville. I think you have everyone else, honestly, because Duke, we thought was there, but like I said, that quarterback isn't that, is kind of banged up.
North Carolina.
Like, so I think Louisville is the clear number 2 here, and I don't think they're obviously as good as Florida State, but I'm excited to see that matchup if it comes in the championship.
The only way, you either need to have an Oregon, Washington type offense that can just run with Florida State, or you have got to manhandle the line of scrimmage and control the ball.
And what did they do against you?
We don't have that type of offense, so but that game plan that night could have beat any team in the country.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. All right, this one hurts, and I'm putting on the glasses for it. Number 19, UCLA, 28-16 over my Colorado Buffaloes. Coach Prime had a minute, man. Chip Kelly and UCLA pull away with 3 second-half touchdowns. UCLA defense played well, harassing Shedeur Sanders all night, causing him to get an ejection in the second half. Shiloh Sanders ejected on a very, very questionable targeting call. I think it's a bad call. I haven't seen anyone really defend the call, so that's where I'll go with that. UCLA Still has USC left in the Pac-12 race. I mean, they could do some fun stuff, but shout out to Coach Chip Kelly. He's trying to keep that in there. Talk about them before I come back on Colorado.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this was exactly how I thought. I saw that the UCLA defense was going to slow down the Colorado offense enough, and even with 4 turnovers, that UCLA just went all over that bad Colorado defense. And it's just a theme that, unfortunately, when Colorado loses some key players, I don't think they have enough depth to really contend and keep going.
No. Colorado got a hell of a role to get bowl eligible this year. Number 16, Oregon State, Arizona, and Washington State and Utah all still left on the schedule. Oregon State and Utah with still left to play for. Oh, man. Come on, Coach Prime. We love you. We believe in you. I still think, I'm not going to bet on them being bowl eligible. I'm not going to lie. It's still a successful season. This doesn't change anything about what's happening in Colorado. Doesn't have anything to do with the culture change. Everyone knew this was tough. Yes, they got blown up and hyped up at the beginning of the year, but man, we still there. I'm still doing it all year, okay? And my knockoff ones, these are my knockoff primes because my real prime sunglasses will be here in December, and I'll be rocking them when we still talk about Coach Prime. Keep it going. No longer ranked, North Carolina, 42. Georgia Tech, 46. We've got our first pod together team respond. Georgia Tech, I called you out. You were listening, and you heard me, and you came out. Haynes King, 5-yard touchdown pass to Brett Cedar with 4:28 remaining, gave the Yellow Jackets the lead before a huge hit on Tar Heels wide receiver Devontae Walker, which I hope he's doing all right because he went to the hospital, caused the fumble to seal it for Georgia Tech. You were listening. You heard me. I called you. I said, what's going on with you, man? And you listened. I love it. No excuses for UNC, though. Be better and play some better defense. Flat out, period. That's it. Georgia Tech, shout out to them Yellow Jackets.
Yeah. I mean, hey, remember how I said Georgia Tech was the Purdue of the ACC? Because there's a random upset? This is Exhibit B. Because they beat Miami. And so it's one of those random wins. And remember how I said USC California had 1,024 combined yards? This had 1,212 combined total yards. With Georgia Tech also only scoring in 2 quarters, 24 points in the second, 22 points in the fourth. And unfortunately, another blown loss for North Carolina, like we said. But I think it's worse this time. They had a 10-point lead with 11 minutes to go, and they did not score again. And so North Carolina just, unfortunately, it's the same story.
Yeah, but like I said, be better. Be better. Time for Mac Brown to walk away.
They had a good start. I don't think so, but I think it's a little too soon.
That's the definition of too soon right there. Okay, that's it right there. All right, man. We'll see. Moving on. We'll hit it real quick because they dropped out. But James Madison 30, Old Dominion 27, 16 third quarter points helped the Dukes remain undefeated and save homecoming. That's important. James Madison not ranked, definitely have a chance to come back and be a part of it in the next couple of weeks. All right.
Yeah.
One more time. That was your ride around the country.
Oh, whoa.
Oh.
We have one more game that we missed, and it's a big one. And I'm going to put on the glasses for it. Arizona upsetting number 16 Oregon State. And I want to put it on a shout because we both said we like this upset, but we picked Oregon State because we like Oregon State. And you know what? They listened to the podcast and they said, screw you guys. We're doing this ourselves, and they beat them. So shout out to Arizona on that one.
I have a theme, and I ride with this theme. If you're good to me, I'm going to ride with you till you're not good to me anymore. Okay, I'm loyal. Okay, you're good to me, I'm going to stay good to you. Oregon State they were good to me. They were good to me. Them points, them 3.5, some overs, they were good to me. So I was riding it. Shout out to Arizona, man. Punchy. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get real. Head slaps and chest pumps, or as we would like to do this week, your tricks and your treats.
Yes.
Your tricks. You're first.
Yeah, biggest one obviously, Oklahoma. Just a weird game, honestly. They were forced to run due to the weather, and their defense just could not stop the Kansas run. Close game, but not a great game. To show one that they should be winning. North Carolina did not think Georgia Tech had another upset in them, but they did obviously. North Carolina very disappointing, and I'm like kind of a downslide right now. And finally, Arizona, just because we mentioned how tempting it was to pick them and we didn't. So that's a head slap on us because we saw it coming and chose to look the other way.
This is the largest head slap review I've had to write this week. So I'm not very happy about this. I mean, where do I start? Oregon, Utah, Oregon, Utah, Duke, Louisville over. Sorry. Maryland, Washington State, and Clemson. I'm sorry. 4 losses now for Clemson. Bring your own guts, Dabo. Oklahoma, once again, we're both sorry. USC, that overhit with USC, UNC I had Oklahoma, USC, and UNC to cover. Sorry. Our upsets for the first time went 0-3 this week. Ugh.
Yeah.
Not okay. Not blah, blah, blah. To the treats.
New week. Yes. To the treats. Oregon, again. Loving Oregon. And they're just playing absolutely fantastic and rolling. Louisville, I called them to dominate Duke defensively, and they did exactly that. Loved it. And Kentucky, because I knew that they weren't going to be able to stop Tennessee from getting back from that Bama loss. And Tennessee did exactly that. So not too bad. Pretty even, honestly, in terms of head slaps and chest bumps.
What I like is all of my chest bumps are bets. Oregon State, Arizona under. Mm-hmm. Told you. Florida State to cover. Mm-hmm. Told you. Tulane, sprinkle. Told you. Close, but told you. So that's it. You ready? Ladies and gentlemen, it's annoying, but we don't care. We're going for another ride across the country, and it's sunny, baby. All right, let's preview the upcoming week ahead because, baby, it's a good one. Number 1, Ohio State at Rutgers. OSU opens as 18.5-point favorites. Rutgers can be punchy, okay? This Rutgers team is no joke, but OSU should win this game. Cal McCourt has to bounce back after a 3-turnover game. That is number 1. This is also Ohio State's first game is number 1, and regardless of what anybody thinks, that means something, okay? It absolutely does to come in and have your first week as number 1. Now we get rolling, okay? Rutgers running back Kyle Monangy, 744 yards, 7 touchdowns this year is the key for Rutgers to have any chance to be in this game. That dude's got to hit the holes. That dude's got to help control the line of scrimmage with his offensive line, and that is the way. Give me some preview into this game. Also, shout out to Pops. He's in.
Yeah, honestly, I think both teams are kind of similar in the sense that they have pretty decent offenses, but they are very reliant on those very stingy defenses they have. And Rutgers needs to rely on that to have a chance in this game. I would like Rutgers more if it was like a night game and it was, under the lights and everything. But a noon game against Ohio State where they're ready to come in and just get a job done, it's very tough. Very, very tough.
You brought up something I'm glad you did before I give the prediction. That noon time slot, Oklahoma got beat up in it. Teams have been caught. Unless you play in the Big Ten and 99% of your games are at noon, so noon kickoff is nothing for you. Big noon kickoff will be there. Urban Meyer will give you horrible takes that nobody wants to hear. I'm sorry. I apologize for that one. And Ohio State will kind of be sleepy in the first quarter and they'll roll. I think Ohio State wins. I think Ryan Day has got them up, and I actually to possibly cover. I like Ohio State by 14. I'm not sure about the 18.5. I think 21, that 3 touchdown. I think you're kind of pushing it. I think this is a 14-point win.
Fair enough.
All right. Rolling. Number 21, Kansas State at number 7, Texas. Ooh-wee. Texas opens as 4-point favorite. Texas needs to escape with a win to keep the college football playoffs alive. Can back up Malik Murphy, build on his good second half, and keep Texas going. However, I'm saying it again this week. Texas, you are absolutely on upset alert. I don't care what you did to BYU. You are on upset alert. Wildcats, reigning Big 12 champs. Everybody kind of seems to, forget that. This upset can be done. But before we get into all that, talk to me about this game.
Yeah, honestly, this is your first big test if you're Malik, because this Kansas State defense is pretty legit. They've only given up 24 total points in the past 3 games. And so look for this to be a really tough matchup for him. If he gets beat up early, we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be a close game either way, regardless of how well he does.
Close game? The Horns are 15th in scoring defense, and they allow 16 points a game. The Wildcats are 14th in scoring defense, 5th in rushing, 11th in scoring offense. I already mentioned Big 12 defending champions. I think Texas bows out this week. I got Kansas State to upset them by a touchdown. Woo, baby, spoiler alert.
Woo!
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The preview of your theme of a bit of a theme this week. But yeah, I haven't believed in this Texas. I haven't believed in this Texas team. So I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. Okay. I'm give me Kansas State. I think they're ready and I think they're up for it. And I think the quarterback thing has something to do with it too. I think Malik Murphy could be a good quarterback. But the Kansas State's rolling. They're ready. This kid's coming in. I like it. Texas A&M at number 10, Ole Miss. Ole Miss opened as only 3-point favorites. Can Rebels quarterback Jackson Dart continue his improvement from last year and keep Ole Miss just in the chaos zone? I like right in that chaos zone. Ole Miss, 474 yards a game, 12th in D1. The Aggies concede about 269 yards a game.
It's not bad.
Talk to me. I'm a coach guy. Obviously, I'm a coach guy.
Yeah.
Jimbo can't lose this many. I've already asked this question once.
And then they did. I don't know, man. Ole Miss has been absolutely flying lately. I think it's a disservice that they're only 3-point favorites.
I saw your face.
Yeah, because Texas A&M has been so up and down this year. It's not really a year where they've looked locked in at all. And Ole Miss, for the first time in forever, looks locked in, and they're ready to compete. So that I think they well cover. Maybe not a blowout, but I like a very comfortable win just because I think Ole Miss is locked in and looking towards that game to get ready.
I'm going to say it again. Jimbo can't lose that many. Yes, he can. Ole Miss to cover. Yeah, Ole Miss to cover. Lock that in. Oh, buddy. Little bro. My favorite game of the week. I hope you're listening, babe. Number 15, Notre Dame at Clemson at noon. Yes, there's some slip up. Irish Open is only 3-point favorites on the road in Death Valley. The reason I shouted out my babe. This is a house divided. She is a Clemson fan. I am an Irish lover. She don't have a chance in hell. All right.
Somebody clip that. Somebody clip that just in case.
Oh, we're already clipping it. The Irish need to continue what's worked all year. Run the ball effectively. Set up the play action. Play outstanding defense. I know that's not easy, but at every win they've dominated in those areas. So if they're going to win the game, they're going to do that. I'm not talking about anything crazy. We got to talk about Dabo's comments real quick. If you have not heard, a radio caller called into to Dabo's weekly radio show and was a little bit out of pocket. He made some kind of comments about how much money Dabo was making and stuff like that. Stuff that I don't deal in that me peeping stuff of being in people's pockets. However, there was a lot of criticism of Dabo's coaching, the transfer portal, the NAL and stuff. And Dabo just went off. Complete, just off the hinges. You're not gonna give me disrespect. I was waiting for him to do the BYO guts, all that crap he usually does. That Clemson, they're not doing good on or off the field right now. And 4 losses will do that to you. Honestly, let's be real about it. So I think Irish bring all of the guts into Death Valley, and I think the Irish win big.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. About the comments, unfortunately, it's gotten to a point where they've won for so long that they don't know how to deal with this amount of losing because they don't remember back in like before Dabo when they were losing half their games.
Hold on. So I agree with you. Nick Saban gets these kind of questions when he loses one game.
One game.
They've always talked about Dabo as the successor at Alabama. So, all right, you lose 4 games at Alabama, dude. Now, yeah, okay. You think Paul Paul's gonna be calling in from ESPN, the SEC guy, from Feinbaum is gonna be calling in to your radio show to ask you what's going on. Okay, keep it up, Dabo. The Irish win big. That's how I'm going.
Yep.
All right. Oof. In your stay away from this one unless you're taking the points game of the week, UConn at number 17, Tennessee. The Volunteers open as 36-point favorites at home for homecoming. UConn has no chance. I kind of like the points.
Like, I get it's homecoming, but like an SEC team playing a cupcake in week 10 is surprisingly not surprising, and it's infuriating. Like, you were in week 10. This is not week 1 where you need to rev yourself up. This is a team that doesn't have a conference, and you're playing them in week 10 of the college football year. Like, what are you doing?
And I'm sorry here. When did UConn go independent for football? Did I miss something?
That was when the Big East broke up.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Blind spot. I missed that one. Tennessee's trying to hang on for a bigger bowl game. They're kind of out of it already, but Tennessee by 30 or more.
Yeah.
Arizona State at number 18, Utah. The Utes open up as 11-point favorites. Can Utah bounce back? I think this is another easy one, man.
Ooh, really?
I think Utah's defense steps up and makes a difference here, and I like Utah to cover. Not so fast, my friend. Give it to me.
Well, I like Utah to win. Arizona State has played close games all year. They have kept it really close with a bunch of teams, and I see this one happening the exact same way. I think Utah pulls away late, but I like Arizona State to cover just because they have been close all year, and it's one of those teams that they've just gotten unlucky a handful of times, and their record doesn't show how decent this team actually is.
Dad, clip that one. Mom, clip that one. We that's our first disagreement. We're gonna have to remember that one for next week. I don't disagree with that. I don't think you're way off there. I'm not. I don't know. I got a feeling this one. I liked Utah as I was doing my work this week. That's what I like. So we'll roll with that. A big one here. Army at number 25, Air Force, man. We love our service academies over here. You get nothing but love from us. The Falcons open up as 18.5-point favorites against our beloved Black Knights of Army. It's going to be another hard knock academy game, straight up. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this Falcons run game averaging 300 yards a game on the ground. Okay. All right. What's some quarterbacks average through the air? Air Force is averaging on the ground, my guys. Okay. Man, I'm going to just get this out so we can get it. I think they roll over Army. That really hurts. I don't like the cover, but I like the over
of an armed service. Clip that. That's the most hot take of the entire show. It's an armed services game going over.
I know this one's gonna burn me a lot, but yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, Air Force big. That's all I got, really. Honestly, unfortunately, I love Army, but yeah.
So see, it's possible. What's up, Mama? We see you. Another shout out. All right, number Florida State at Pitt. Seminoles open as 21.5-point favorites. Can the Seminoles dominate Pitt just like the Irish did? The answer is yes. Okay?
Not in the face. Not in the face.
Not in the face. Okay, that's one we use for soccer all the time. But once again, I mean, I think. Listen, I got Jordan Travis for 25 plus. Put that in a parlay that I don't have on a graphic. So sprinkle that in. Write that down. I really like that. We got to talk once again, coaches under the crossfires this week. We got to talk about what Pat Narduzzi decided to do this week, which was going to his press conference and in a roundabout way, kind of blame his players for the loss and say that we didn't replace enough and kind of throw the guys that were there. And his players were pissed off. Immediately got on X. It's so weird to say that, formerly Twitter. And we're like, weird emojis. That's okay. That's what's up. Things like that. They were pissed. Okay.
Yeah.
If I don't think that is going to be let's rally together, guys, and they may try to do a let's play for ourselves F the coaching staff, which absolutely happens. I don't think that's going to help them. Jordan Travis for 25, 250 plus, Florida State in the points. And I kind of like the over only because I think Florida might put up 40 something themselves to touch the 50. So yeah, Florida State big. Anything?
No, we touch on everything there.
Thank you. All right. We got a lot to clip this week. So just hit your record right now. Pull your phone out and record us for this one because this one's going to get ugly. Number 11, Penn State at Maryland. The Nittany Lions open as 10.5-point favorites. Is anyone going to be surprised that I like Maryland here, or at least the points? Penn State struggled last week. Michigan is looming. The ultimate trap game. My Terrapins are averaging 32 a game. Penn State has lost to the only good team that they have played this year, and the second will be to Maryland at home. They're up for it. Scott Van Pelt in the house. I don't even know if that's going to happen. Maryland, we are back, baby.
Is it my turn now?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll give you. If Penn State plays like they did last week, it could get scary. However, the trap game, I think, is invalid because it was a close game last week. If they had blown out Indiana, I would be like, you know what? This could be a trap game because they blew out. They were confident. They're moving on to Michigan. It was a close game last week. I think they have to play well because they know that they are not playing well currently. Now, Maryland's offense, really, really good. But that Penn State defense, I think, is better. It maybe not a lot better, but definitely better. And that combined with Maryland's pretty poor defense, I like Penn State in this. But listen, that's not the hottest take you've had today. I like it. It made me think for a bit, but I have Penn State.
Full disclosure, I got home from the Akron-Kent State game way late. Did not get to sleep until after midnight. Woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to get ready for my regular job. I am blaming all of this on sleep deprivation. None of this counts unless I'm right. Everything that you just said is absolutely true. I don't just, but I'm throwing all logic out the window.
Fair enough.
For this reason, the Maryland offense can hang. Okay, I think Penn State's checked out. I'm calling it. I think Penn State's checked out. I think they're done. Okay, so we'll see what happens though. Another one to clip. All right, keep it rolling. Another great game here. Number 9, Oklahoma at number 22, Oklahoma State. The Sooners open up 6-point favorites on the road. Spoiler alert, teaser alert. I'm out on Oklahoma. They're all you. Okay. We do need to mention it is the end of the Bedlam series for Oklahoma State. What a rivalry. I mean, we've got to talk about it. The overall record of this rivalry, 91-19-7. What are we doing? Is this real? Sooners defense needs a bounce back week. We've already talked about that. Dylan Gabriel trying to kind of say I'm still in this Heisman race. Let me back in. I'm not sure. Talk to me. Before we talk about Ollie Gordon, talk to me. Don't you dare talk about my guy Ollie Gordon yet. No, let's do it. Let's do it then. Ollie Gordon deserves to be in the Heisman race, okay? And if you don't know, I'm letting you know. 1,087 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7.7 yards per carry. The guy is a monster. They're giving him helmet stickers every weekend in college football final. Shout out to those guys because they've been talking about him all year. Other than the fact that 91-19-7 is the worst record for a rivalry ever. That is literally Globetrotters, Washington Generals. Okay. I'm pretty sure like what?
Yeah. No, it's bad. However, I like Oklahoma State. I don't believe Oklahoma can stop the run. And this is a team in Oklahoma State that all they do is run, and they run well. Trust me, They just played Cincinnati last week. We have a very, very good run defense, regardless of our record, and they ran all over us. They are insanely talented, and I don't think Oklahoma is going to be able to stop the run. I think it'll be close, but I think Oklahoma State just runs through it.
That is absolutely the key for the Cowboys. And I think just like my Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys, we them boys, okay? We are them boys. Oklahoma, thanks for coming. Just like Texas, the Big 12, you are out of here this week. I like Oklahoma State on the upset by a field goal, and I like the over of 50.5. Put that in there right now on the same page. I love it. Speaking of running backs who are absolute monsters, Virginia Tech at number 13, Louisville. Cardinals open up as 9.5-point favorites. I like this team. Run, Jawar Jordan into the win. The Hokies are allowing 150 yards per game on the ground. This is easy. Get the crowd in. Easy game. I think Louisville can roll.
Yep, get them going early, get a couple points on the board, and you're good.
Absolutely. Okay, number 24, Tulane at East Carolina. The Green Wave are 16.5-point favorites. The Pirates are coming in only averaging 19 points a game. Okay. The Green Wave win. I kind of like the ECU plus 16.5. I see you shaking your head. I said I kind of like it. Okay. I do like the over. That 47.5 is sexy, and I like it.
Yeah. This ECU team reminds me of the Temple team that UC played a year or two ago when we were still in the American, and it got ugly. We played them at Temple, but they don't have a stadium, so they play in the Eagle Stadium. Fun fact. It got ugly, and I think this one's going to get ugly. I think Tulane wins by a lot.
Ooh, good. More disagree. Listen, we're not here to just agree and pat each other on the back every week. We got to go back and forth, man. Best brothers doing a podcast since the Kelseys. And my little guy's cuter to Taylor Swift.
Shout out Cincinnati, by the way.
Shout out Cincinnati. I'm just joking. Okay, we're Swifties. We're cool. Shake it off. We're good.
I didn't say it.
I know. I'm in trouble. Cal at number 6, Oregon. Our Ducks. Calling them our Ducks now. 24-point favorites. Oregon is him right now, okay? And I'd be scared if I'm Cal because this ain't USC's defense. I know it's Pac-12 defense still. I understand. But Bo Nix trying to sneak back in that Heisman race, trying to let everybody know just like that. Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm him too. And I love Oregon right now. I love Oregon. I think they stay hot. Before you even get in, I think they win big. I love that over of 57.5. It's Pac-12 football, people. Okay, 60 points is coming. Okay, all right. Oregon might put up 50 of them themselves. You agree? Disagree?
No, I completely agree. What did you say the spread was on that?
That is 57.5. Oh, the spread? I apologize.
Yeah,
24-point favorites for Oregon.
Oh, I think it's close. I think 21.
Yeah.
I think they barely miss, but I still like Oregon by 3 scores.
Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't say cover. I definitely said win big, and I love that over. All right, let's keep it rolling. I got your second one as I'm dropping things on the floor. I got your third Big 12, not Pac-12. I got your third Big 12 run of the week. Number 22, Kansas at Iowa State. The Cyclones of Iowa State are favored at home against the ranked Jayhawks by 2.5. Kansas trying to avoid the letdown. Big game coming in the next one. Iowa State controls its own destiny in the Big 12. That is amazing. I'm going to just put it out there. No disrespect to Kansas. And Toto, this ain't Kansas anymore. You went somewhere else. Cyclones with the upset. Give me the 2.5, and let's roll.
Fair enough. This is definitely a trap game. I agree. You just had that win against Oklahoma. You got a big game next week. Understandable. Shout out my professor, big Iowa State fan, going to the game. Gonna live it up. Good for him. However, it could go either way. I like Kansas to hang on just because I think they know this is a trap game, and I think they are coming in with a head of steam, and I think they are going to make it close, and I think they're going to come away with a win. barely, but with a win.
I like Iowa State minus 2.5. I said what I said. Okay.
You said you
We ain't,
said.
we ain't in Kansas anymore. Hey, actually, we gotta hit the biggest breaking news that you just dropped and all of that. Hey, there's your proof, everybody. He does go to class. He knows his professor's an Iowa State fan. Them grades show that you go to class, my guy. Let's keep it rolling. Purdue at the biggest cheaters in the history of the world. Number 3, the University of Michigan. The Wolverines open as 32.5-point favorites as the Boilermakers come into the big house with all the heat over Jim Harbaugh and his team. All the heat. However, you just gave Michigan bulletin board material with that, the number 3 ranking, the Ohio State game coming. Michigan's coming in balanced. And I know Purdue is good for those upsets. Wolverines big.
Yeah, Purdue aren't the upset specialists that they typically are this year. They've been very just poor this year. I love Michigan big. They are.
There you go. Enough said. Like I said, I don't 32.5. These Michigan point spreads have just kind of been all over the place. I don't like touching them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I like it though. I don't know why.
There's 100% a chance that Michigan not has a letdown, but doesn't have that big huge week. All right, let's keep it rolling. Number 16, Oregon State at my Colorado Buffalo. I have to put this horrible Halloween costume back on because of you. All right. The Beavers are 13-point favorites on the road against our Coach Prime. All right. And the Buffaloes trying to bounce back after that Arizona loss. Colorado upset? I don't know. Maybe. My Beavers versus my Buffs. My heart says Colorado. My head says the over in Oregon State. There you go. My heart says Colorado. My head says the over in Oregon State. What you got?
Yeah, that's fair. Both teams, great offenses, but not so great defenses. Unfortunately, Colorado's defense is a lot worse than Oregon State's defenses. So I like Oregon State in this. However, 10 o'clock game, 7 o'clock there, prime time at home against Colorado. There's definitely a chance for an upset if Coach Prime gets those boys up and motivated. So I don't know if I really like Oregon State, but I like them. However, there is a massive possibility that we could see the upset here.
Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Number 20, UCLA at Arizona. The Bruins come in 2.5-point favorites. Okay. I think we got to put them on upset alert just because of Washington and State and Oregon State, what the Wildcats have done. So off rip, sorry, you're on upset alert. They average 298 passing yards, 155 on the ground. That's UCLA. Okay. Can the defense that has a 44.9 third down completion percentage get the stops? Chip Kelly, what you got in your bag?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think this might be the easiest upset alert we've called since we've had the podcast, just because the signs are all there. Arizona's at home. They're rolling. UCLA, kind of a letdown of a season so far. I'll talk on it later. That's all I'll say. I'll talk on it later.
I like it. Can UCLA limit the turnovers? Okay. I'm going to give you what I got already. Nope. Wildcats in a wild one. Third upset of the year. Give me the Wildcats in the 2.5. Drew will check in with you later. Our big games of the week. All of these games have been big games, but let's get real. This is where things are about to happen. Number 14, LSU travels to Tuscaloosa to take on number 8, Alabama. Roll Tide. Shout out to our uncle. Tide open as only 3-point favorites at home. Can the Tide play defense enough? Because if you don't want to track meet with LSU, and especially not with the way Alabama's offense has been playing. So can this defense get enough so it's not a track meet? Tigers average 47 points a game. This is one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in college football. Bama can't hang in a shootout. I've already said it multiple times, okay? LSU won this game last year on a gutsy 2-point conversion call by Brian Kelly, and Nick Saban didn't forget that, okay? I know that, okay? Obviously, this is big. Bama's biggest test, Jalen Monroe. He can't hang with Jaden Daniels. and he's not going to outplay him, but can you stay close? Okay? Go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, these are kind of two opposite programs right now. Bama coming in, not winning, but not dominant. They had to come back for a couple or hold on the past 3 weeks, while LSU comes off back-to-back absolute dominant performances and a good win against Missouri 3 weeks ago. Obviously, like we said, the LSU offense, insane, averaging 550 yards per game, while Bama's only averaging 367. However, Bama's defense has won them these games. And so that is what you're going to have to rely on. Also, shout out Jaden Daniels. Did not mention him in the Heisman discussion. Should have. 2,500 yards passing, 500 yards rushing, 30 total touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. That is crazy numbers. However, the key to Alabama, what they have to do, slow down the LSU offense. You're not going to stop them. That's not going to happen. Slow it down. And talking a lot. Jalen Milroe, like you said, you don't have to play hero ball. You don't have to play great. If you play clean, you are giving your team a chance. However, I like LSU.
Ooh.
This feels like a game LSU scores with like a minute and a half, 2 minutes left to put them up 7. Bama needs 7 to score. The offense just can't get it done. And LSU walks away with the upset win, which to me honestly doesn't feel like that big of an upset because it feels like we are giving Bama just the Bama tax in this more than anything.
An NFL team could beat Alabama and we'd still be like, man, we thought. Okay, so we all have biases, okay? And sometimes those biases are built on the things that we've watched week in, week out, while a man climbed one of the most historic coaching rank win totals of all time to become Notre Dame's all-time winning coach. I have watched Brian coach Kelly teams year in, year out. If anyone else but Brian Kelly was coaching this team, I would have LSU as the winner. Okay? I think he got lucky last year. It was a gutsy call. It's the same gutsy call he tried to make in the Hurricane against Clemson a couple years back when we went for the 2-point conversion and we didn't get it. So this is his MO. I think he gets smoked in the big game. I think the Alabama defense can make a couple turnovers and allow it. Okay? What was that point spread? That point spread was 3 points. I like Alabama in the points. Give me Alabama by 7. Another one we disagree on. I can't believe in Coach Kelly. Sorry, man. I'm letting him in this one. Because if this was, I'm sorry, if you took that entire team and you put them in blue and gold and you gave them to me, and I think he'd lose this game. I'm sorry. I'm not going to think anything different.
Listen, fair enough. Obviously, I wasn't here for it, but for those that don't know, Brian Kelly was at Cincinnati. And if you talk to anybody from here that was there during the Brian Kelly years, nobody liked him. Like, he's just one of those guys that just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And it's very fair to have that bias, especially with everything you've seen as a Notre Dame fan.
And I can't think of who I exactly want to take off the top of my head and be like this guy, but I have a feeling in a couple of years he's going to be one of those coaches where guys are like, no, didn't like playing for him, didn't like him. I went to Cincinnati for Cincinnati. I went to Notre Dame because it was Notre Dame. I went to LSU because I've always been a Tiger. I think you're going to have some of that, and I think you'll see that. All right, let's keep it rolling. Number 5, Washington. Number 24, USC. Buckle up, get your popcorn ready, and do not go to the bathroom. Huskies are 3.5-point favorites in Southern California. Who are you, Washington? Because you're going to be tested again. Who are you? USC just looking to take everyone out left. Everyone that's out, everybody trying to take them out. Caleb Williams versus Michael Penix Jr. is a heavyweight Heisman bout. Yes, put them back on.
Too bright.
2,600 yards, 25 tutties, 4 interceptions versus 2,900 yards, 24 tutties, 6 interceptions. Okay, come on, like this is Hogan Rock. You look like the Ultimate Warrior, so I'm throwing it out there. Okay, like this is amazing. This could get Caleb Williams back in the Heisman race. Washington has got to rebound fully, or USC is taking this game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, same as the Oregon game for the Huskies. Can you get a couple stops and get the lead? USC has shown you they'll spot you a lead, man. They got no beef with that. Here, take a couple points. We'll see you in the second half. That Washington is not the team I want to spot a couple points to, but I'm just saying, like, all right.
Yeah.
We know this is it for USC, regardless of the fact that they own their own destiny in the Pac-12, okay? Go ahead.
Yeah, listen, if USC plays any type of defense, they have a chance in this game. But that's the issue. They haven't played any type of defense all year or anything that resembles defense. And so while I would say this is normally a game where you see USC step up and upset Washington just because of the motivation and being at home and and Washington still kind of having question marks, just because how poor that defense is, I can't see it. I obviously we're gonna see a shootout, that's no question, but I can't see USC putting up that amount of points against Washington that they did against Cal, but I for sure see Washington putting up that many points against that USC defense.
USC, we had a good year. I'm letting you go. Washington, and this over is tempting. It's 75.5. And it's still tempting.
Okay? Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
This is the Pac-12 in USC, baby. Points are like yards. We going. Okay? Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I'm doing the math here. I'm looking at that 75.5, and I'm like, 40, 30, 42, 40, I mean, why
42-38? 42-38.
Right. That's I'm like, we don't right? So hey, it's gonna be fun. All right. Tune in. Number 11, Missouri. Number 1, Georgia. To me, this is absolutely the biggest game of the week. Your Bulldogs, the Bulldogs, 16-point favorites. Okay. Georgia's rolling, but man, this Tigers team is to be respected. Okay. However, thanks a lot, committee. You gave Kirby Smart a reason to throw chairs in the locker room and tell Georgia they're all disrespected because they're number 2 and they're not number 1. Brock Bowers will be out. Okay. It was no
Didn't
issue.
matter.
It was right. It was no issue. But this Tiger team is better than Florida. This is okay. Here's my question to you first. Will this be a good game?
Oh, that's a very tough time because you've seen it year after year where you're like, oh, Georgia, big game against number top 15 so-and-so, good game. Georgia blows them out by 30. Oh, TCU, dominant win over Michigan. This should be a good game. Wipes the floor with TCU.
Florida last week.
There's all the signs of possibly an upset, maybe even a good game. Wipes the floor after the first quarter. And so I don't know is the best answer I'm going to give you. But what I do know is I get that LSU-Bama is a rivalry, and I get that Georgia might just run up the score. This should be the late game. I want this as my late game instead. It's a 3:30. The LSU-Bama game's at 7:45. This should be your late game.
No, we have 2 primetime games. They both should be the SEC this week. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I get you.
I know there's TV things. I don't care about those type of things. At some point, we won't have to do it. Do me a favor. I need your glasses back on because I'm about to do my best Gorilla Monsoon. If you don't know who Gorilla Monsoon is, you're an uncultured person and you need to
get ready.
The Tigers have the 17th ranked air offense. The Bulldogs have the 7th ranked scoring defense. The irresistible force meets the immovable object. Bulldogs by 10.
I like it.
All right. Don't pop that down. Yeah, we're done. We pulled in the driveway. We've been annoying everybody. We've been dancing. We've been singing at the street lights, playing fire drills, and all kinds of dumb stuff on the road. We're back home. All right, let's touch on a couple games in our home state, some Ohio games, okay? Buffalo took on Toledo, Ball State and Bowling Green, Kent State and Akron, which I was at. Shout out to the Zips with a fourth quarter comeback. They were down 27-10 and made the comeback. Get that wagon wheel. Our other big Ohio game this week. Central Florida. 4.5. Cincinnati. Your Burkets? We got some.
So first, they don't like to be called Central Florida, so I will continue to call them Central Florida because we don't like them. This
sorry,
is
what is it? Oh, do they prefer the UCF?
Listen, they're Disney University to me. That's fine.
Scorching hot.
There is some bad blood between us. It kind of started a couple years ago when we made fun of their national championship, and they got all butthurt about it. And then they try to tell us that we didn't belong in the college football playoff, regardless of the score. Say what you want to say. So it's been a somewhat of a rivalry the past couple years, and it continues to be. It'll be a good game. It'll be chippy. I don't want to bet it for UC just because they have not looked good at all, and UCF look actually pretty decent. So I won't touch on the score there, but I really think it's going to be a good game, and I think it's going to be chippy. I think it's going to get real chippy out there.
So ain't nobody breaking down that UC game like this guy right here. Okay, bringing it to you. You'll see one of these teams in a graphic to come later. Spoiler alert. I touched on them because I didn't have the score loaded. 100% on me. Toledo took out Buffalo, 31-13.
Shout out my boy Toledo fan. I went to Toledo.
And shout out to my Bowling Green Falcons. Took out Ball State, 24-21. My Falcons keep rolling. Okay, we're going to do something that I have honestly missed, okay, the past 2 weeks in a row. I have been trying to get this in because not only is an Ohio game, but it's near and dear to our heart. We have a new segment. It's called Tiffin Time, okay? Your Tiffin Dragons, our Tiffin Dragons. Shout out to our cousin Keegan. Goes there, rolled in the university, played on the college team, and now helps and coaches with the college team. Your Tiffin Dragons, 9-0, 7-0 in conference. Undefeated. They take on Ohio Dominican, okay, in a huge conference game, even though Ohio Dominican doesn't have a great record. Does not matter. So we got to stay plugged in with Tiffin. So what did I do? I reached out to our cousin, your age, younger than me, my little cousin, and I asked him point blank, hey, what his role currently first. That's what we wanted to bring in. Basically, everything. Helping out on the sidelines, getting signals together at practice, helping with equipment, game days, getting guys going. Like I said, helping with those signals, making sure guys are on the same page, plugged in, locked in. But most importantly, I asked him 2 questions. What's been working and why he thinks they're undefeated, and what to avoid this week so that there's no letdown. And I'm just going to read it verbatim because it's that good, okay? The team is undefeated because the boys are playing for each other and the staff, and they have heart in everything they do, week in, week out, doing the right things. That sounds like generic coach speak, Ken. First of all, yes, it does. Keegan's ready. Any good team right now, undefeated, ask them why they're undefeated, and you can copy and paste that answer because that's what it takes to be an undefeated team. Okay? Period. For this week, do the little things, play our game that we have done every single week. We need to just keep being tough as we've been. I won't read you the rest. Love you, Keith. That's it. Period.
Simple as that.
Taking care of it. Tiffin, keep it rolling because I need my big cuz to get one of those other big rings. Man, you should see his Tiffin championship ring. He's already got one from 2 years ago. The thing is massive. I need him to get another one so that way he can come into New Year's Eve and just dump them on the table like Pat Riley. All right, let's go Tiffin Dragons. Shout out to Keegan. Shout out to his older brother, my big guy, Josh, and Cheryl. All of y'all. Love y'all. Drew. Ready?
I'm ready.
Who do you love? Drew, who do you love this week?
I love some people this week. I love Oklahoma State. Like I said before, Oklahoma could not stop the run at all against Kansas, even when they knew it was coming. It was rainy, it was gross. They had to run the ball, could not stop it. And so that running back is better. So it's the same stuff's going to happen. That combined with a hostile home game environment, I smell an upset.
Ooh.
The other game that I told you I'd come back on is Arizona. Listen, I don't think I thought I would ever have Arizona on this segment ever, especially when we start out with Arizona. However,
Until we start college basketball.
see, there you go. But they look really good. And UCLA honestly seems like a team to underestimate or play down to Arizona. And this Arizona team really just thrives off of that. Ask Washington, ask Arizona, ask Washington State, and ask Oregon State. They either kept it close or they upset them. Give me Arizona. I love them this week.
All right. I'm going to be one of the cool kids and put my hat on backwards.
Ooh.
No. Who do I love? Hello. First teams first.
Jose Ramirez?
Play like a champion today, baby. I love my Irish. Okay? Duh. BYOG, bring your own guts, Dabo. Give me Irish into points. Love the Irish. I like your upsets and your overs this week. More to come. That graphic's coming up, baby. Okay? I like Louisville and Tennessee to have big weeks this week. Okay? And we got on them, but I got a sprinkle team for you this week. Duke. Yes. And not the Duke that just landed the number 1 recruit in the country on the basketball side. Your football Duke, okay? Sprinkle them back in. I love a bounce back week against Wake Forest. I know Wake Forest just come off an absolute rum beating from Florida State, but I think it continues. I like Duke. I like Duke to bounce back, okay? That's who I love, okay? That's me. That's my I love who I love, okay? Drew, who do you feel is all you?
Yeah. I've been hearing a lot. I've been hearing a lot of upset talk, but I don't like Rutgers this week. Like I said, maybe if it was a late night game, I could smell an upset. I've been hearing some upset talk, but noon game, Ohio State comes in, business as usual. Defense chokes them out. Well, their offense gets enough to get it going, and they win comfortably.
He said Anderson Silva-esque choke out by the
Exactly. And the other team that I have, I know they just dropped 49 on USC, but they're not playing USC. They're playing Oregon. I don't like Cal. I think it's going to go exactly the same as the Utah game. Cal is just in Oregon's way to a college football playoff bid, and I don't think they're going to be stopped. I didn't want to put Oregon again in my team that I love, so I put the team they're playing against in the team that I don't love because I like Oregon that much.
I like what you did there, okay? We won't keep it repetitive, but we still going to tell you what we feel. Your Big 12 heavyweights, all you. I already told you. I got Texas losing, Oklahoma losing, Kansas losing. I think the Big 12 crashes out this week. You want to take them? All you. Pac-12 unders. All you. I don't care. You'll see. I don't care. Pac-12 unders, all you. Having one screen to watch both Washington, USC, LSU, Bama, and also keeping an eye on Oregon that starts at 5:30. Absolute first world problems, okay? Because those will all be on different networks, I think. You're going to be a mess, not me, because I will just move TVs around in the house until there's enough small TVs and laptops and tablets and everything.
Yeah,
So
TVs, computers, tablets, phones, everything.
Listen, I don't care. Yes. So if that's what you got to do, if you stuck with one, first world problems, absolutely. I'm sorry. Hey, it is what it is. Okay. You see it down at the bottom. You see the betting is up. What's it time for? It's time to make some money, baby. Here are your college bets for the week. Okay. My overs, I told you, look at them. Pac-12 overs, I have all 3 of those in a parlay together. Oklahoma State of over 61, UCLA, Arizona over 51, Oregon State, Colorado over 62. I love every single one. So do a lot of the handicappers. We're all on board this week. I like this. And I like the Florida State Pitt over a 51. Obviously, those ones I got in blue, I really, really, really like. that Florida State Pitt one it's like I said, I think Florida State could put up 40 by themselves. Okay. Can you give me 11, Pitt? I mean, you scored. Can you give me 11? If not, give me 48 by Florida State in a field goal. Okay. My teams that I like, honestly, and obviously these are in order with spread and money lines together. Some teams I just like their money line. I like that Notre Dame -3. That money line we can touch too. I like that Iowa State -2.5. Can touch that money line too. I like that Alabama -3. I like Oklahoma. Or no, I'm sorry. That Ohio State -18.5. I've got it up there. 21 points. It could happen. Buckeyes could run away late. They absolutely broke us last week on that 14.5. It did not hit. So that's I love the Louisville money line. I love that Duke money line. I like Wisconsin to bounce back. That is my sprinkle team this week. I 100% like the bounce back. Bounce backs have been big this week or this year. And yes, still giving them some love. I like that James Madison sprinkle in there. Get them in there. Put them into parlays. I don't necessarily like putting these all together. If you want to put them together, do it. I did it in one. Okay. All right. That's my 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. I like this stuff all sprinkled in around each other. I really, really do. Anything you like here?
Honestly, I like a lot of those overs. Florida State could just put up 50 by themselves, so that's definitely an idea. Yeah, and I like most of it. Obviously, the Alabama one we've talked about disagreeing on,
Yeah,
just because of the I think LSU fan. But honestly, a lot of those are really solid.
absolutely. We don't just give you bets and parlays. We give you the upsets. Now, before I put this graphic up, nobody freak out. I'm not saying every one of these are going to hit, but there's some really, really, really good upsets to take a look at if you want to spread some money around or if they're a team that you believe in. So let's throw them up there. Here is my first. We're riding it from last week. Georgia Tech +102 over Virginia. As you see, these are in order of odds. That +102, not even a big favorite, but they're a favorite. I like that one a lot. We already talked about it. Arizona +116 over UCLA. Everyone else already thinking, hey, little bro, you see him. I got you back again this week. Them Bearcats +152 over Central Florida, UCF, whatever you want to be called. I'll call you what you want to be called. I got no beef there. Possibly. I like Cincinnati, though. I really do. Hawaii +158 over Nevada. Yes, your late night Hawaii games. Nevada getting a quarterback. Hawaii playing well. They like to put up some points. I like it. I already told you. There they are. Kansas State +172 over Texas. Big 12 out this week. Oklahoma State +202 over Oklahoma out this week. BYU. I'm throwing it in there because West Virginia has been up and down this year. +300. I ain't touching it. You can touch it if you want. Oh, I'm touching this one. Okay. I already got money on it. Maryland +310 over Penn State. I like it. Don't care how crazy. And I'm throwing it in there because I like to hedge sometimes. I don't care. Duke, absolutely. An upset team or a sprinkle team. Wake Forest, after that loss, definitely has Duke on upset alert, though. Okay, absolutely. And because I got to. Your Coach Prime Colorado special. The +13.5, +400 on the win. I like it. Okay. I told you, we're pro Coach Prime. Okay. So pro his numbers as well. All right. We're back home. We took our ride. We hit the casino. All right. We cashed out. So let's switch it up. We're going to do something we have not done on this podcast before. Let's debut with some hoops. The NBA season has started. It's very early, so we're not going to go full dive in, okay? We're not going to trade songs and dive in this yet. But we're gonna do some quick hits, all right? NBA quick hits. That's what we're going to call them for right now. First things first, we got to start with our home state, Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, won the first game against Brooklyn, dropped 3 straight. I didn't mind the loss to Oklahoma City because I, like Bill Simmons, fully believe in this Oklahoma City team. I think they're going to blow it out. They blew a 13. It was a 13-0 run that kind of put that away. But I think this Thunder team is special. Cavs last night played. There have been injuries. Shout out to my guy Nick, who I talk about the Cavaliers all the time because nobody watches more Cavs games than that guy. they've been banged up. They're trying to work some new guys in. So I'm not this the over under for this team, I think was 52, 53 win, or it's around 50 wins. They're focused on getting in the rhythm, getting the role players in, and get ready to bounce back in the playoffs against that loss against the Knicks. So I'm not disliking what I'm seeing. What's kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, 2-3 isn't bad. Before when I was making these notes, it was 1-3 before the next game last night. So I'm glad it's 2-3, not 1-4. However, 2-3, the 2 out of the 3 losses were by double digits, and so that's kind of a little concerning. I know Jared Allen is out, and there's been a lot of roster turnover over in the offseason. I'm hoping it's that it's just really concerning that it seems like we're getting into the same rhythm we did last year, where Donovan Mitchell, he's putting up 40, and the rest of the team's putting up like 10, and then we're losing 98 to 110. And I just I really hope that Strus and all those guys that came in can really give a boost either off the bench or in the starting lineup. And when Allen is healthy, he can give us minutes. But I'm not worried yet.
Long term, this is the biggest unkept secret in the NBA is Donovan Mitchell's not staying here. That's it. I'm not. Listen, I like this team. I wanted to make the trade. I'm bought in. Shout out to my guy Martell, known the dude my whole entire life, who couldn't stand Colin Sexton. We all agreed that we needed to break this up and let it go. So I'm okay with the Mitchell trade, but we may need to move on from this at some point. If this is not working and it continues to hinder Mobley, Evan Mobley, which by the way, this is your year. This is your. It's time to take the leap. Once again, shout out my guy Bill Simmons. I got stock in Mobley. I think he's going to be. I think he could be what Anthony Davis was supposed to be. But it's time to start making those jumps, and yeah, we will see. All right, but still, shout out to it's still early. We know nothing quite yet. That's not true. Here's what I know: Victor Wembanyama is special. 7'4", dribble, shoot the three, post up a little, block, run the floor, everything. Dude is averaging 16, 7, 2, 2, 2 points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. There was some 1.7s, there was 1.8s. I rounded up. I don't care. Okay. My teacher taught me to round up. Okay. Some of his highlight plays are just unreal. Like, he's going to get stronger too, which is scary. And then the post ups are going to be there. And this good luck, everyone else. This is amazing to watch. I love it. I'm in. I'm on Wembanyama watch. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, no, he's a stud for sure. However, I am definitely afraid of tall, skinny men in the NBA because it seems like every 4 months they're hurt.
Yes. However, go ahead. No, I'm going to jump in. He knows how to fall. That means something. Tua Tagovailoa, okay? Tua, NFL, Miami Dolphins quarterback, the guy that we all were so scared and thought he should never play a down of NFL football ever again, went to judo and learned how to fall. It's a real thing. Joel Embiid learned it. It's why he doesn't get hurt as much anymore. He's learned how to fall, but it's harder to learn it later in life than it is to just be natural. Wembanyama, he plays soccer, he plays volleyball, he plays basketball, he does other sports. The kid is nimble. He moves around a little smoother than somebody who's 7'4" with the wingspan of an elephant's nose and Decepticons and Transformer like okay, the kid is just it's amazing. I think he'll be okay. They're limiting his minutes. Pop is the best coach that you could ever possibly have with a guy like this.
That's true.
Because Pop don't care if he don't win with him.
No.
Period. Because Pop will be a GM at some point to win with him anyways.
And this Spurs team isn't that good, so that's not that big of a deal. But there's a lot to be hopeful for if you're a Spurs fan, though.
Absolutely. Everyone has said, a lot of the experts have said that these next 2 drafts are potentially not as talented. It doesn't matter. People are going to want to go play with that guy. All right, let's touch on our hometown guy. Although, he's not from Cleveland. Well, we understand that. You see the Believe Land towel in the back there. Put the crown on. LeBron James. They want to bring his minutes down this year. Game 1, 29 minutes. Then he's gone for 39, 35, 33, 30. Okay, so yeah, there's that. 22, 8.5, 6.5 in year 21. He just put up 38 something and 7, the most points by someone in their 21st year. Okay, before I get on my soapbox and I put out my most controversial opinion of the pod, Go ahead.
Yeah, 34 minutes a game, which is third on the team, by the way, at 38 years old, is insane. Like, we've always said that he is insanely athletic and he beats Father Time, but that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Um, Go ahead.
I was going to say only a couple more years until he could potentially play with his son, but he has said mixed signals on whether he wants to or not, because he said it all this time where I'm going to retire after I play with Bronny. But as of late, he has said that maybe he doesn't want to, and maybe he wants his son to make his own mark. So we don't know how much time we're going to have left. And honestly, it's just a joy to watch that man play game in, game out, because just how nimble he is and how old he is still is ridiculous.
Man, you just brought up so many points I got to hit. My son will definitely be joining us at some point for this pod. I might be falling asleep right here next to me. So let's hit all these LeBron points. Number one, what he's doing at this stage in his career is just phenomenal. The thing about playing with his son, I think he did the exact same thing he did when he named his first son. These are going to be LeBron's words. I'm not criticizing this. I think he made the same mistake when he did Bronny Jr. that he did when he said he wanted to play with Bronny. LeBron has now come out and said one of his biggest regrets was naming Bronny James Jr. LeBron James Jr. He said, I was caught up in it and having a son. What I should have done was giving him his own name so he can build his own legacy similar to what you have. I took that advice, or thought about that advice, it should say, when helping name my own son, because of that, your own legacy, your own name. No, even advanced scouts were not sure, and the name is blanking, but the younger James could play. We didn't know. People thought and knew Bronny James was going to the league. So I think LeBron said, all right, well, I'm going to get to play with my son, and then I'll retire. And then he looked down the line and went, oh, no, I got two sons coming into the league. And I don't know if I want to stay that long, because that's a lot more time. Okay. So I think kind of like the backpedal on the name, I think he's backpedaling on those comments, because I don't think he's, man, the man's 38 years old. Like, he wants to go sit down and rest his feet at some point, man. All right, I'm 34 and I want to do that. And I didn't play soccer anywhere near as long and or as many minutes as LeBron James played basketball. Okay, my feet hurt sitting here. Okay, LeBron James hurts at some point. He wants to go lay down. He wants to watch his kids play. He wants to be a dad. Okay, that's one of my dad idols. Okay, as in terms of famous guys, because LeBron is a great dad. One of my favorite LeBron James moments, he won his championship with the Lakers. He walked outside the locker room. He laid down on the floor, cigar in his hand, and he called his mother and he said, Mama, I couldn't have done this without you. You're why I'm here. Okay. Resonated with me there too. I think that's where LeBron is coming from. Okay. So I think that's LeBron's mindset. Okay. He's hitting goals. He's chasing ghosts. He's chasing Jordan. Okay. Okay. I think that plays into a lot of this in terms of playing with his son. So that's my thing. All right, I'm a GOAT rant. LeBron James is in the GOAT of athletes. He's an athlete GOAT. Okay. I didn't say he's the basketball GOAT. Okay. Off the top of your head, when I say boxing, what do you say?
Muhammad Ali.
Thank you. Is Muhammad Ali the greatest boxer of all time? There
Probably
are
not.
people who will beat you in arguments saying no. Okay. Not argue with you to a tie. Will beat you in arguments saying no. But when you say boxing, you think Muhammad Ali, you think Mike Tyson, you think Floyd Mayweather. Okay. Those three names. Okay. There's Sugar Ray Leonard. There's all kinds. Okay. But we start going, get to the tippy top. Ali. Okay. Foreman. Tyson. Ali's that guy. The athleticism, the talking, the trend. Okay. LeBron James is the best NBA athlete of all time. He could have played other sports. I don't care about the flopping and all of that. I don't care about the LeBron hate. Facts. That man is a machine. That man is 38 years old and has never had a serious injury. Knock on all the wood. Okay. That's it. He's a GOAT. Get over it. I don't care if he doesn't have 6 rings. I don't care if he lost a couple times in the finals. I don't care that when he gets on the court, he doesn't want to punch his teammates in the throat and make the worst basketball play ever. So LeBron James is a GOAT. We'll have the other discussion for another day. Let's keep it rolling. Luka MVP. Gonna touch on it. Maybe he is your favorite right now, plus 400. 400. So is the Joker. Although Joker cares more about racing horses than he does about basketball, and I love him for it. But I like a Luka MVP year. I think it could happen. Just saying.
It's possible. I think obviously it's really early. We're seeing guys kind of settle in.
Yeah.
It honestly just depends on how we see how that him and Kyrie dynamic works in year two, because that's kind of what's gonna happen. Because he's not gonna get an MVP all by himself.
Well, no, we have to talk about it because anytime Kyrie's on a team, you have to talk about the Kyrie dynamic until he starts to blow the team up and wants to get traded somewhere else.
Yep,
Sorry, it's just facts at this point.
that's very fair.
Giannis and Dame, man, averaging 27 and 23 apiece. I mean, they're gonna gel eventually, but I mean, I will say this though, put up or shut up for Dame time. And I'm all here for Dame time, but it's put up or shut up. I appreciated the loyalty in Portland. He hung out and stuck it out longer than most guys would. If that was Kevin Garnett back in the day or some of these other guys, we would have had no problem with Dame leaving. But Dame was a little bit too much pumping his chest on the I don't need to team up thing until he realized it was the worst opinion ever. And that's not how the league works anymore. I'm sorry. So shout out to them. Nuggets still the team to beat, though. And like I said, these are just some quick hits. We're going to get more in depth as some more games play out and we kind of start to see what's going on. But listen, man, they were still undefeated. Jokic doesn't care. I mean, the video of him scouting horses before practice is amazing because they're asking him what he's looking at, and he's like, the horses, because that's what he cares about. I will say this, though, and it's worth pointing out, okay? And we don't need to break this down. We can break this down at another point. If an American athlete, okay, if Steph Curry in his prime, when his MVP run was on the bench, not the bench, but watching videos talking about, I don't know, we race horses in America, so I'm buying horses, or I'm looking at my car, I'm invested in NASCAR. Man, is Steph distracted? Russell Wilson, is Russell distracted? But because he's European and we kind of let these things slide, it doesn't matter that Jokic ranks basketball like the fifth most important thing on his list of his to-do list for the day. Okay. And we expect American athletes to not show up to the birth of their children, okay, to be at a game where Jokic was literally trying to get away from the parade to go home and race his horses. So, I mean, that's absolutely worth pointing out. It is. It's worth pointing out.
I think it's different just because I think we look at it very similar to we do as Tim Duncan, where it's just being casual and just being like, yeah, I work on this, I want to do it, and because he puts up insane numbers, we're like, okay, you can do what you want.
Tim Duncan wasn't as vocal about not caring, though. He just showed it in the attitude. So that's
the only European being very blunt, and that's just
right. Yeah. You see it at the bottom. Baseball World Series. Man, me and him have been going back and forth about how this update was going to go because we weren't really sure we were going to have more of a series to talk about because we don't. Because it's over. Rangers in 4. I'm sorry, 5. 3-1 winners over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sorry for all your Diamondback bets. Sorry for a couple of my bets. Corey Seager, your MVP. Andrew, break it down.
Yeah, we said it would go more than 5, but it went exactly 5. Like we said, the Rangers' talent just overpowered the Diamondbacks, hot streak going in. But Arizona had opportunities to make this a longer series. They lost in extras in Game 1 after giving up a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game. That could have been a win. And in Game 5, the last game, they were no-hitting the Rangers through 6 innings, but didn't score a run. And then the last 3 innings gave up 5 runs, 4 of them in the 9th. And so that's another one. So, yes, obviously we look at the Rangers, and that's a very good ball club that probably deserved to win regardless. But Arizona, I think, just got cold right at the end.
Yep, and they got cold right when they couldn't get hot again. And that, I 100% agree. Hey, shout out to the Rangers. First championship in history for them. Also, go ahead.
Also, shout out Corey Seager. In MVP, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, with a lot of those being in the clutch. You think the Dodgers are a little upset letting them go now?
Right. Two World Series MVPs, 2 different teams. Yeah. Shout out to that guy. No joke. And shout out to the Rangers. So absolutely. All right, that was quick. Baseball. We'll see you in February. pitches and catches will be an important conversation when they come back around. But we
I
caught
can't
on to
wait.
the MLB late. The podcast started late for the two of us in terms of in the season, but still, shout out to the Rangers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it's time for. It's time for the footy.
I don't got it, but I was a
Okay.
bit up right now.
Pull up the soccer review. All right, let's hit our EPL review quickly. Tottenham 2, Crystal Palace 1. An own goal and a Sun goal keep Spurs at the top of the table. Spurs took over in the second half. Jordan Ayew pulled one back late, not enough. Big Ange ball is working. Ange Postacoglu. Man, I'm gonna get that one down. Man, Spurs are playing like a completely different team, man.
Yeah, however, good win. Good win, great solid win. Not like the Spurs we've seen where they just give up leads to bad teams, like a team we'll talk about later. However, they really like yes, they played Arsenal. That's a rivalry, so I can't really put it as like a good team. That they would it would have been a good game regardless. Other than that, they really haven't played anybody yet. And so they haven't played a City, they haven't played a Liverpool. I know you technically are gonna say you're not really in it, but they haven't played you yet. And so
I'm in it.
I I wanna wait and see until they have played those kind of teams to really give them the okay, let's see what you got. Because right now it's Tottenham getting a lead and Tottenham doing Tottenham things.
Tottenham haven't played many teams in the Big Six. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, moving on. Arsenal 5. Sheffield United 0. The Gunners run amok against the Blades. And Kita, a hat trick. 28, 50, 58. A beautiful touch and finish on the first volley, or on the first goal. Absolutely amazing. The volley fell to him clean for the second one, and he hit it back corner. Beautiful. And then just an absolute damn hit from outside the box. 3 amazing goals. Vieira in the 88th. Tomiyasu, or a penalty kick. Tomiyasu in the 96th minute. Arsenal hitting their stride. Resting players. Still beating up on very, very lower end of the table Sheffield United. And only sit 2 points behind Spurs because of goal differential. They've overtaken Manchester City. Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is my nightmare as the two biggest rivals that I have are 1 and 2 in the table, and I'm sitting in 11th. But no, they're looking really, really good. This was expected, maybe not at this level, but of demolishing, but it is. One good thing though for Sheffield, Austin Trusty, the American, had a decent game. Obviously, you can have as good of a game as you can have at a 5-0 defeat.
You can't have a good game when you lose 5-0, but go ahead.
A clearance off the line, a last-ditch tackle to save a goal, and 3 more clearances to basically be the only good defender for Sheffield in that day. But they still couldn't do much anyways, but that was something of note.
Absolutely. Full disclosure, I haven't said that one this week because I kept using it incorrectly, so I needed to stop saying it when I was the first thing I reached off the top of my head. But full disclosure, when me and Drew talk soccer, doing this podcast has been the most humbling soccer fan experience ever because we don't like certain teams and we've had no choice but to talk about them the way they should be talked about and look at them. So this is gonna be a tough week for both of us. Okay. Speaking of, Brentford 2, Chelsea 0. 2 second half goals from Ethan Pinnock, Brian Mbeumo, and Chelsea's good run of form for Drew. Tell me what happened.
This is a very common occurrence of a very young team believing the hype in themselves a little too early and going back on their heels and just not performing and going back to what you did in the beginning of the year. Very poor attack going forward, just shooting to shoot, not having a purpose and having barely any shots on target, controlling the ball, but not really doing much on it. And then as soon as the other team gets the ball, we're caught out. They come on the counter, and they get their goal. Unfortunately, this is to be expected. Like I said, it's a very young team. You are going to get super inconsistent results. Unfortunately, it comes in a time where we need momentum in the next couple weeks because we have some massive games going forward. But what can you do? It is what it is.
Pause on those. Chelsea currently sit 11th, 5 points away from Europe in any form. Top 4 Champions League, 5th and 6th Europa, 7th Europa Conference League. Still, we'll touch later.
Could be worse.
Wolves 2, Newcastle 2. A good back and forth game. Callum Wilson's first half double, becoming Newcastle's third all-time leading scorer. Fair to point out, but still not enough to get Newcastle back on track as Hang Hee-chan equalized in the 71st minute to share a piece of the point.
Yeah, like we said last week, fatigue from the Champions League is again playing a factor for Newcastle. They just look tired out there. They don't have the depth that a City or an Arsenal have to really just keep pumping out people. They might in a couple years, but just right now, no. And as you can see, it's taken a toll on them.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. Okay, keeping it moving. West Ham 0, Everton 1. Everton wins. Everton wins. Everton go 5 points clear of the relegation zone after a beautiful turn and finish by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. West Ham dropped to 9th. Man, listen, we have soccer allegiances, but no one on this pod wants to see Everton. Well, one of us kind of wants to see Everton into the championship. That would be him, not me. But I want to see Everton stay. They're an historic club. I want them up in the Premier League. But you. Do I need to bring up that's where they belong text? No? Okay. Yeah. I'm keeping it moving. Brighton 1, Fulham 1. Ferguson and Polina get on the score sheet respectively for each of their team. Brighton hanging on there for that last spot in Europe. Hanging on. Fulham in 14th. Honestly, about where we both thought they would finish. Mid-table. Not anywhere near a relegation. Not really near Europe. I mean, kind of irrelevant, unfortunately, except for the Americans that play there. Yeah, absolutely. Aston Villa 3. Luton Town 1. McGinn and Diaby give Villa rolling before 2 own goals apiece. Bring it home for Villa. Man, Luton Town, thank you for coming. Hang in there. We like and respect you. Hopefully you can turn some results. But we got to talk about Villa. 5th. 4 points off of Spurs for first place. 5 points clear of 5th and 6th. Are Villa in the mix? Are Aston Villa in the mix?
Oh, yeah. They as soon as they got their new manager last year, they looked like a completely different team. They have the talent.
Unai Emery, king of the Europa League.
And we knew they had talent. They just didn't have someone to really get it out of them. And Unai Emery is the guy to get talent where there is none. And even if there is talent, to get everything out of his players. I wouldn't say they're going to challenge the top 6, or at least the top 6, the clubs of the top 6 that play well.
Okay.
But they are definitely one of those teams like a Brighton, like a Leicester a couple years ago that would always challenge, that can sprinkle it in there, maybe get a 4, 5, 6 every year, and really cause some havoc in that upper part of the table.
Where Villa was when I was in college. You were a young guy. Yeah, actually young on that team. We mentioned him last week. That Villa team challenging for 4th, trying to challenge for Europe. Would have been playing more in Europe if there was extra competitions like there is now. But hey, absolutely. Villa in the mix. Like we said, Luton Town. Hang in. Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 0. Jota, Nunez, Salah. Enough said. Okay. Forest only 5 points safe. Only 5 points from safety and not looking good. Liverpool are in the mix. Here, full disclosure, I'm not a Liverpool guy. I'm a Manchester United guy. We don't get along. We don't like each other. They're in the mix after this dominant win, period. All right. They're only 3 points adrift from the leaders. But I will say this. Europa and Conference League games are harder to deal with sometimes than Champions League games. Champions League games are mostly Wednesdays. There's some Tuesday games mixed in there. Tuesday, Wednesdays. Europa League, Conference League are Thursday games. So you have got to turn around Thursday and go into a Friday, Saturday, Sunday game. They usually won't play Thursdays. They usually do play Sundays, but there's some Saturdays mixed in. So going from Thursday to Saturday is way different from Tuesday to Saturday, Tuesday to Sunday, Wednesday to Sunday. So that will play into Liverpool. However, this is a deep squad. They've been there before. They've done it. Our theme of the week was us being humbled. take over for a second before I absolutely thrash this.
Yeah, we both thought that this was going to be a close game, Manchester City versus Manchester United. We coming in, United always play them tough, and for the first half, it was pretty close, honestly. A very interesting call for a penalty. Only 1-0. Then it got kind of out of hand in the second half, and it didn't look like United really had any plan of coming back or stopping them, and so a very anticlimactic Manchester derby. And Ken, I gotta ask, what happened?
Strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because we're almost done, but this is going to be a second. 3-0 was the final score, by the way. Like I said, City got ahead on a bad penalty call. Okay, this is not sour home grapes. It's a bad penalty call. Rasmus Haaland got called because they were tangling in the box, and he kind of got in the defender's way. Defender fall over for him. Why is it a bad penalty call? Because 10 minutes later, it happened in Manchester City's box to my guy, and we got no penalty call. Once again, complete indecisiveness from VAR and the refereeing this year all over the place, but it's finally affected me, so I'm going to sit here and gripe and bitch about it. Period. End of story. All right. Yes, it would have been nice to go into the first half 0-0, but they got the goal. The second half, they completely took us apart. Okay. There would have been we still would have lost the game 2-1, 3-1, whatever, but but no, they completely took us apart. I'm going in the weeds. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Starting Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. I'm not going to cuss on this podcast. What? Yes, Harry Maguire was player of the week last week. Yes, he had a good game. Johnny Evans should not be starting. You had Rafael Varane. You had Victor Lindelof, who's been playing well. Start him next to Harry Maguire. What are you doing? Playing McTominay as a 10, Scotty the Body McTominay, you've heard me talking about him. Playing him as a 10, playing him as the cam, playing him in our Gio Reyna position that you hear us talk about for the U.S. men's team. Basically, your number 10 is supposed to be your Messi. He's supposed to be your point guard. That's not what Scott McTominay is. It's not what he does. He should have been playing there. Rashford isn't here this year. He was here last year scoring goals. He's checked out this year. He's gone. Rasmus Højlund is out there by himself as a striker. No balls into the box. Not getting good service. Playing by himself. The midfield is being absolutely gutted through. Okay. Eriksen, Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes, Scott McTominay. All of those players are center midfielders. They're playing out on the wings. They're playing in holding positions. They're playing advanced positions because Erik ten Hag, my manager, doesn't know what he's doing right now because he doesn't know who he wants out there. And then on top of it, yes, I'm going off right now. We bring on Anthony Martial, who has been in the club for so long. He's a Red forever, but has done nothing minus the year he came in, lit the world on fire, and then has done nothing ever since. Mason Mount doesn't deserve to wear the reserve number 7, let alone the historic number 7 for Manchester United. Reguilon should have started instead of coming in off the bench. Okay. Garnacho, I love you. I'm not going to give any. Alejandro Garnacho, I love you. He's a young kid. I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. And I'm sorry if I'm yelling. I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. All of the teams in the top 6 through 7 have a plan. Spurs have a plan. Arsenal clearly have a plan. City have the best plan. Liverpool has a style of play. Villa have a style of play. Brighton have a style of play. Chelsea have a style of play. I don't know what our style of play is. We don't possess. We don't counterattack very well. We can't sit and hold. Moving on to our preview. Coming up this week. Thank you. Coming up this week, Brentford versus West Ham, 9th versus 10th in the table. Both teams try to fight to stay mid-table, just trying to reach for those European spots. Brentford winning their last. Hammers have dropped 2 in a row. Midweek cup game for the Hammers this week. We'll see what happens there.
I like Brentford.
I kind of do. Sheffield United versus Wolverhampton. Bottom of the table, Sheffield. I'd say they want to make a game in it, but Wolves have been kind of in form. No defeats in their last 5, sitting comfortably in 12th. Give me Wolves. You'll see that later. Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Second bottom Burnley, who've lost 4 or 5, take on a Palace team that have lost 2. This one will be on Peacock on one of the extra ones. We'll see about that. Everton versus Brighton. You can argue that Everton, who have lost 3, I'm sorry, who have won 3, lost 2 in the last 5, and sit 15th, okay, closer to the bottom of the league than the top, are in better form than Brighton, who have won 1, lost 2, drawn 2, and sit 7. Everton in form. Watch out for the Blues this week. I'm just putting it
Brighton
out.
by 2.
What?
Brighton by 2
I love you.
or more.
Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Can Villa keep it rolling and push towards the top? Yeah, we're both in agreement there. Absolutely. Luton Town versus Liverpool. No problem here. Take it to the bank. Put Liverpool in your parlays.
Luton early goal, first goal.
Okay.
Just because Liverpool has done that all season, where they give up an early goal, and you're like, oh, are they on an upset? And then Liverpool score 3 or 4, and then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Go in your bet 365. Go in Luton first goal. You're going to get good odds. Put it in there. Drew put you on the bet this week. Man City versus Bournemouth. No letdowns, no problem. City take care of business, not in the face. They put them away. Liverpool, Man City in your parlays. You'll see it later. Not going to go on a rant. Fulham versus Manchester United. United try to bounce back, but not just from the beating of from City, but losing 4-0 to Newcastle this week in the Carabao Cup. We're not doing this. I'm not getting angry before the end of the pod. United 3-2 in the last 5 in the league, though, despite what I'm talking about. Okay.
I like you.
And here we go. Listen to this. Despite all of this negativity, if United take care of business, which I do think they will this week, and some results go our way, we're sitting in 6th in a Europe spot and looking up at the Champions League. Not all hope is lost. 11 men on the field will decide how I feel for the rest of the weekend. Once that happens, you agree?
Yeah, no, I like you. I think Fulham just are very toothless at the moment. They don't have a really good attack, and so I think that kind of favors you in a sense if you can kind of control possession and then just go from there.
Yeah. Like I said, I think we can. I think we can do this. Okay. You're up. Chelsea versus Tottenham. Remember, we talked about Spurs not playing any of those big 6 type team clubs. Here they go with you. Can Chelsea get back on form? Can Spurs show they're the top dogs? Drew.
Well, it'd be a lot more fun if we beat Brentford last week. However, we have lost all of our momentum, and Tottenham are absolutely flying. However, like I called the Arsenal game, it is a rivalry game. It's the London Derby. I don't think we're going to win or even draw, but I like it close. Tottenham 2-1, maybe a 3-1 late goal, like super late where it doesn't matter, but I like it close.
Okay. Wait and see, everyone. Arsenal versus Newcastle, our biggest game. 2nd versus 6th, a huge game for both of these clubs. Newcastle are desperate to regain their form of the end of last year and a little bit of that early form that they showed against PSG in the Champions League. Arsenal looking to continue to prove that week in, week out, we are here. This is a 2-team, 3-team race, and we are in it. That's what Arsenal is trying to prove. Go ahead.
I like Newcastle. They are at home. They did not have Champions League this week. They had a midwatch week against you. You can attest to how many players that start normally played in your game, but they got rest. I really like them. I really, really do.
I don't disagree. I really don't. I like Newcastle here too. All right. Another big game to hit across Europe. Last week, we gave you the El Clasico, one of the biggest rivalries in all of soccer, the biggest rivalry in all of soccer, one of the best games that you can watch. This week, Der Klassiker, the German version. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. Well done.
Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund. Throw out the table when... No, you don't. Bayern have owned Dortmund lately, okay, as they have for a long time. And while this is a great game, an amazing atmosphere, one-of-a-kind scenes, check this one out. Like we told you with the El Clasico, you will not turn this game on and be like, well, this is boring. No, you're going to be like, this is amazing, okay? Check that out. I'm sorry, though. Bayern Munich 3-1.
That's very fair. And I would see Bayern Munich in the same. Dortmund just don't have the same level of firepower they had last year. But just like a very maybe boring college football game can be amplified by a raucous crowd, Dortmund at home in a big game, whether it's against Bayern Munich or in the Champions League, is a sight to behold. They are always intense, always fun. You'll see flares going off. You'll see massive yellow flags waving. It'll make the game, even if you don't like soccer, so much better just because of the intensity and the atmosphere. So, just for a little bit, especially in the beginning of the game when they start, check it out.
Absolutely. 100%. Okay, real quick. It's his time. It's his time to shine. He ain't got his
My
jacket.
moment. It's my
Boom.
moment.
You see that switch. Americans abroad. Drew, give them to us.
Yes. Now, not as many big names this week. We have a couple, but there are some that are teetering on the edge of the 23 man roster that we normally call up that you're going to want to hear about. So first, and obviously, Christian Pulisic. Beautiful assist and a very dangerous 45 minutes for Milan as they drew Napoli 2-2. Very interesting that he got taken off at halftime. There was no injuries. They just wanted to take him off, but he played really, really, really well. Next, Gio Reyna. No goals, no assists, but 2 straight starts for Dortmund, which have been very hard to come by for him. And I was on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and Dortmund, so German Dortmund fans are demanding he continue to start games after that performance last week. 5 chances that he created and he basically ran that midfield against Hoffenheim in the German Cup this week. And so a very, very good performance that could potentially see him get a lot more starts for Dortmund. Alejandro Zendejas. You've heard of him before. He's a winger. He comes in sometimes. Great goal for Club America as they beat Monterrey 3-0 in Liga MX, the Mexican Soccer League. Johnny Cardoso. You've probably heard his name before. He started and played in both the friendlies the past time they all got together for the U.S. He had an assist in Internacional's loss in the Brazilian league, and there are a lot of rumors circling that he will make a move to Europe either in January or the summer, so watch out for that. Jordan Pefok.
Oh, keep going. My bad. Keep
Yeah,
going.
we got more, baby. Jordan Pefok, Jordan Sivachu. They call him in Germany just Jordan. They don't give him a last name. 2 goals in the German Cup for Mönchengladbach as they win 3-1 and advance in the German Cup. Tanner Tessman in the midfield would have been on the Gold Cup roster this summer if he had not had a child.
My guy.
Your guy
right here.
An assist and man of the match performance for Venezia, second division of the Italian league, but there are rumors that he is getting looks for higher Italian leagues. So watch out for that as well.
Who else plays there?
Busio.
Gianluca Busio, one of my favorites. Venezia, the podcast favorite second tier Italian team. And all of these
uniforms.
I'm sorry. Oh, absolutely. Google Venzia. Google their uniforms. They're the most beautiful you will see in the world. Love them. Top 5. Yes. Don't care. Yes. Yes. And like I said, before he hits more, all of these names you are hearing week in, week out. And if you're missing some of them, you're like, wait, what? Check it back into that first pod that we did about the friendlies and the U.S. call-ups, and you will hear those names. Keep going.
Yes. And last one, Paxton Aronson, younger brother of Brendan Aronson, who regularly gets call-ups to the U.S. national team, came on late and grabbed a late assist to seal the win 2-0 for Frankfurt in the German Cup as he continues to get minutes at 19 years old, by the way. 19.
Absolutely. A similar ascension to his brother.
Yes.
Fair to point out. But Paxton, younger brother syndrome, man. You sometimes you younger brothers tend to be a little bit better and a little bit smarter. I don't know what happened over here, but got you. Love you. All right. So those are your Americans all over Europe, your Americans abroad. One last one, because I give you bets everywhere. Your soccer bets this week. Boom. Let me slide over. Boom. Your 5-teamer. I give you a 5-teamer every week. Manchester United, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Wolves. Plus 886. Lock it in. Love it. Love it. Love it. I don't like any more than 5. The other games are too close for me to want to throw in and mess that parlay up. I like these 5. The Klassiker. Here's your bets. Munich, -143 to win. Obviously the favorites. Borussia, plus 320 to win, plus 320 to tie. Rivalry game, biggest one in Germany, might be worth taking a flyer on. Don't know. Your upset specials of the week. Chelsea, plus 110 to win, plus 250 for the tie against Spurs. This man is much, much more excited about that than he has been in other weeks. Everton, I told you. Everton again. Question marks there? I don't think so. Plus 220 to win, plus 240 to tie. I like it. Separate. Don't mess up our 5-teamer because that one's going to hit. But I like this sprinkled in on with the rest of it. Lock that in. Screenshot it. Clink. Boom. All right. Man, soccer. Hit the NBA. Hit the World Series. We put on these absolutely horrific Halloween costumes where I tried to pretend to be Coach Prime and he tried to be somebody else. Sunglasses on for the last ride out. Let's hit some couple things on the way out. Middle school all-star game, November 5th, 4 p.m. VASJ. We're still hitting that as a network. 216 Sports Network. Check us out. Rico McGee. 500th episode of the Sports Minute is coming up. First of all, let us be the first to wish you on network air. Congratulations, Rico. You're the man. You're one of my inspirations in doing this. You have helped get me in this business. So 500 episodes is absolutely monster. I put our name in to make an appearance. We will see. I'm just saying I put us in there. I said Straub Bros are in if you want us. So if you don't see us there, it's because Rico's going to have 7,500 guests, and we're not going to be able to fit us all in unless it's a 4-hour pod. But shout out to Rico, okay, and there. 216 Sports Network, Facebook page, YouTube page. Check us out. We're doing big things. I'm going to be putting up a post from the Akron game last night. Like I said, I got touchdowns up close. I've got some extra points. We've got some band stuff. Got some great photos. Going to put those up for you to kind of take a look. The 24th of November, Akron versus Ohio U. I'm breaking news to my brother because he doesn't know this. The passes have been approved. The 216 Sports Network will be in the building. Me, Rico, Mel, and my brother will be at the game live at noon, bringing you coverage, bringing you photos, bringing you some not play-by-play, but we'll go live. We're going to bring you all kinds of fun stuff from that Black Friday game. And then, because we're just going to be all over we're going to be all over you, okay? We're going to be all over for the holiday weekend. The next day, the 25th, all of the details are not locked in, but here's what we know. Live podcast, University of Cincinnati. Wait a minute. We've got breaking news. Oh, you were pointing at yourself. I thought you were breaking some news. We will be at this man's campus.
I'm pointing at the logo.
Just pointing at the Bearcats. We'll be at this man's campus. We're going to do a live show. Don't have all the details. I probably shouldn't even be saying this. I don't care. It's my show for the next 20 minutes. I'm running with this. We're going to be there live. Where exactly we're going to be, not sure, but we're going to be there having some fun. We're going to be talking live. We're going to be talking games. We're going to do a little college game day-esque kind of thing in our own 216 Sports Network fashion. I won't give you who's going to be there because it's a secret. I'll be there. Straub will be there. Other Straub will be there. But it's a secret other than that. You never know. Big-time guests. We might have Dion on the pod. You don't know. You don't know who we're going to have. Colorado has a game that day, Ken. Shh. Like I said, check us out. 216 Sports Network, YouTube, Facebook. Follow, like. We appreciate all of you hanging in there. 2.5 hours strong. Mom, dad, all our cousins, family, friends, all of that checking in. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is time for, right? I can't do it. I was going to bring my son back in, and he was going to give us the everything at the end, and he fell asleep on me, waiting for me to get done with the pod. So, teaser, maybe next week you get a little bit more of the little guy, but literally he was waiting for me. He's on the other side of the computer, and he fell asleep. That's kids. I kept him up too late. That's dad's fault. We appreciate you. As always, we cannot wait to talk to you next week. Next week, we are going live on Wednesday. So we give you the immediate reaction day after of the college football playoffs. Watch them at night and be ready because the next day we are coming in to talk about it. All right? Andrew Straub, Ken Straub, 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth. Hopefully this is one of the last times we appear on this show because we will be doing our own show, even though we're kind of using this as our own show. That doesn't make any sense. Time to stop talking. As always, love yours. Thank you so much. Man, I didn't have the music queued up, so I'm still talking and I'm not supposed to. So once again, ladies and gents, thank you so much and love you.
City.